let's talk about project operations light. Okay. So what is project operations light? So you're deploying a solution purely in the Dataverse. And in that solution, you have all the following concepts around the sales cycle. Okay. So you got the lead and opportunity management for a given prospect, right? For your given customers, contacts, and accounts. And those you would nurture those leads and nurture the opportunities at the point of opportunity. Then you will start to build your products. You'll start to provide offerings for your product for your projects based on various products, based on various price lists. You'll have project templates as well that you would include in your opportunity, and from that opportunity you generate quotes, right? The quotes will contain your line items for how you will for your proposals for your customers. They will include the various resources that you will provide and services that obviously come from the products, and then you'll have the price, the proposed price. And once you have the quote and the quote is accepted, and then you finally get an order, at that point, you would need to obviously start to manage your resources. So there are multiple phases that we'll talk about when it comes to resource scheduling and project management that will play more of a key role. Because once you've scheduled your actual projects, those items, those actual resources aren't hard scheduled until once the project is kind of approved and signed off, right? Now, at that point, you will then start to actually start scheduling the actual exact resources, because at the beginning it's a templated resource based on what you have available, and then you start to commit them to the project, and that's where the project planning and the resource scheduling come into play. Now, most importantly, what you need to be aware of, one of the big changes with project operations is that it's now built on top of project for the web. Okay, so the project for the web is part of the architecture of project operations. It makes it completely different to what was previously PSA. It's one of the key areas which has been changed as part of the architecture, and it's embedded inside of the project operations Dynamics 365 application interface, right? So the interface, when you are interacting with the interface of the resource schedules or the project planner, what you're actually interfacing with is project for the web. It's provisioned as part of project operations. Another thing you should be very cognizant of are the power apps. So project operations is a power app, okay? It's a Dataverse model-driven power app. And then you have project for the web provisioned and embedded within that model-driven power app. Okay, well, in addition to that, there are additional power apps for example, time management, right? Because one of the things that you want your staff to be able to do is log their times. That's a key part of the actuals. And when they complete their time entries, they will then be approved, and that creates the actuals that are required for billing. So also another important concept around the mobile app that you get for time management, and one of the things that has changed recently about that mobile app, that power app, and I don't want to do a spoiler alert, but there has been some new announcements regarding the new experiences that you're getting, because some people, they didn't like the old mobile app. And so now there's some new announcements that you will definitely hear about today about the new improvements with the mobile app. I don't want to do too much of a spoiler alert because it is fairly new information, but that is also included in that experience. And another important thing to consider is licensing, right? Because you have your project managers and your sales team who will require the full Dynamics project operations license that get the full experience, right, of project for the web and the full end-to-end life cycle of a project. But for many of your staff, they will not require that. And so you have a team member license that they can use purely just to access the mobile app to be able to complete their time sheets. And so that's project operations light from a high level architecture perspective. And then as we move forward, we have an operation, and integrations with finance and operations. So when you're deploying the project operations non-stocked, okay? So we talked about project operations light, which is the Dataverse, purely the Dataverse application on a model-driven Power App with project for the web, as well as the time management app. What is project operations non-stocked? What is that? Yeah. Well, what it is imagine you've got the light version of the Dataverse app, but then you've also got F&O and you've got additional capabilities that are provided with finance and operations. And most importantly, to because Dual Right plays a key role in enabling project operations non-stocked. Okay, it is fundamental. With project operations light, you can use that product with any other ERP for the purpose of issuing your sales invoices, right? And managing the ERP and financials aspect of project operations. But if you want the full experience across the full dynamic stack, then the prerequisite is to have Dual-Write enabled, not only in your Dynamics CE environment, your Dataverse environment, your project operations environment, but also it would obviously have to be enabled via finance, but via Dynamics 365 Finance. Now, to enable that, there's a few prerequisites. Number one, they have to be in the same region. So your Dataverse needs to, your project operations CE needs to be in the same environment, in the geolocation, as your F&O environment to be able to enable Dual-Write. Okay, guys, I'm getting some background noise. I'm just going to check where that's coming from. Sorry, 1 second. Sribatsa, can you hear any background noise coming from my side?
No, Raz, you are clear.
Okay, let's ignore it for the time being. Okay. So as I was saying, in order to enable project ops for non-stocked, you have to have those prerequisites to be able to then enable Dual-Write. And to enable Dual-Write, there are some important dependencies that you also need to be aware of. In addition to the region, you also need to have the Dual-Write solutions installed in your Dataverse environment. And as part of that, there are solutions and metadata that is installed in your Dataverse environment. Most importantly, it's the legal entities and it's the customer structures, that customer grouping structures that will be deployed. And they will impact some of the experiences with inside of CE, but not too much. There's one solution in particular that you need to be careful of that will have the biggest impact on your CE environment. And that is the global address book, right? That can have a much larger impact on your dynamic CE environment if you enable it, because it adds further complexity to your account and customer data structures, which often in CE you do not want, because it's an ERP structure which impacts your CE, right? So, but the good news is that is not a requirement to enable Dual-Write for project ops. So you can ignore that, the global address book. It's not required, okay? The next step would obviously be to enable the mappings and to then initiate the synchronization. Now, when you initiate the synchronization between the two environments, you do have to hold your hat for a second and take a look, because remember, the data structures for the legal entities, accounts and contacts need to be associated, and projects, they all need to be associated to the relevant legal entities, right? So that mapping needs to be in place, and the synchronization needs to map effectively to preserve that integrity. So you would have to look at the data in F&O, what data currently exists in there in CE, because if it's from a blank, if it's a greenfield implementation, then that it's more or less very straightforward. But if you already have data, existing customer data, then you'd have to be a bit more careful in how you initiate the data flows in Diorite so you can do the initialization. Okay, so I just want to call that out really importantly. When you're enabling Diorite to enable that non-stop situation where you get that tight integration with F&O to get the full experience. And what experience here? What is included in that experience? So as you can see, I've skipped that a bit. Let's quickly go back to that. So these are the features that are included in. Okay, we have here. We've got obviously the employee skills management that's coming from primarily the HR. You obviously got your project objects being synchronized across. You got the project forecasting as well, syncing inside. But then obviously you got the procurement, the purchase orders, management, the vendor invoices, the accounts payable. Obviously you've got product management that gets carried forward and mastered. You've got the expense management and approval synchronized across as well. But most importantly, you've got the customer invoices, the accounts receivables. You've got the expense reports, the expense management. Revenue recognition is obviously the key area that we're talking about here. That's important from a financials perspective for managing your projects, because obviously throughout the project life cycle, it may be that you bill your customer throughout the period of the project and not right at the end. And so you have to keep track of your time management and expenses and your forecasts and your billing with your customer as you engage and you go through that project. There will be adjustments that will need to be made within F&O. Project integration journals is a key one, and the project sub-ledger. The key thing here are the work breakdown structures that are flowing from the Dataverse into F&O, okay? Then you've got the financial reporting, and then the other areas of procurement, materials, and all of the key financials related to a project are now integrated and managed with those stakeholders in your finance departments, right? So let's take a more of a deeper look into the years. So this is basically what the flow looks like. So at the top, you've got everything that's happening inside of the Dataverse, inside of project operations, Dynamics 365 CE. And then you have at the bottom, you've got all the processes that are owned inside of F&O. So it all begins with the sales and opportunity management, with a lead to opportunity, quote generation. Quote will obviously be linked to the project setup and the project contracts. And that's where you have the contract management, which will then obviously will flow into F&O. Then you've got the important aspect of the project planning and resource management, where you'll be creating those work breakdown structures, the scheduling via the scheduling, the estimates, the resources are all mastered. So all the resources that would flow in through your HR and F&O. They would obviously have to be structured and stored inside of project operations and the Dataverse, so that you've got access to their skills and availability and certifications. You've got the vendor management, which is primarily within F&O. Then the project management and delivery, which is again the key area that I mentioned. The work breakdown structures. These tasks are key bits of artifacts that are crucial, because they play a crucial role in your ERP, right? It creates the collateral that's used to generate all your transactions, the work breakdown structures, and so that's where it's all mastered. And again, that's all mastered and powered by Project for the Web. And then you've got your expense entry and time entry management. You've got adjustments being made throughout the project life cycle, right? Because things do change, and then it'll generate the actual project actuals, material actuals, which will then flow into F&O for the PO processes. And then you've got the billing. So obviously, when a stage is ready for billing, when a project is ready for billing, that gets initiated to generate the performer invoices. Because remember, project operations line takes you all the way to the life cycle up to the pro forma invoice. It's only with project operations non-stocked that you get the full invoicing mechanisms, right? Then you've got the revenue recognition, all done with inside of F&O. Then you've got your operational reporting and financial reporting as well. Okay, so without further ado, that takes me perfectly to our next speaker, who will actually elaborate on all these processes even further. So we can see Sribatsa is online. Hello there, Sribatsa.
Hi, Raj.
Hello
Am I
there,
audible?
Sribatsa. Thank you. Yes, you are audible. Thank you for joining us today, Sribatsa. So yes, you are audible. Without further ado, Sribatsa, I'd like to hand over to you. So I'm going to stop sharing. We can see your screen now, Sribatsa. We can see your PowerPoint. So when you're ready, if you want to go into presentation mode, yes, you are in presentation mode. So without further ado, Sribatsa, over to you.
Thank you, Raj. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the session. The agenda that I will be covering is introduction to Dynamics 365 project operation. Typically, four agenda topics that I'm going to cover is, first of all, why do we need, or any organization will need, project operation in the first place? Secondly, what are the typical challenges that any organization faces that project operation is going to address? Third is the typical features of project operation that addresses the various stakeholders that are engaged in a professional service company for whom the project operation tool is made for. And fourth is how everything fits in the bigger picture of Dynamics 365 platform ecosystem, right? So starting with the key challenges are, or why do any organization will need project operation in the first place? So typically, most of the professional service company that are there around the world, they are currently using a lot of disparate system, leading to data silos, which are impacting the success of their businesses, right? Let's say the project manager, they kind of are using redundant PSA and a PPM tool, which is kind of disconnected. And also there is a difficult sales handoff that happens from the sales team to the project team, right? So most of the time, the project manager are not aware of the scope of work that has been agreed by the sales team. Similarly, the resource manager also have a lack of visibility across the project and also into the cost of the resources, right? There are other stakeholders such as account managers who find it difficult to accurately quote and have a zero visibility into the project delivery system. The human resource team kind of works in a separate HR tool where the people manager face challenges in maintaining the skill matrix of the employee, engaging the employee in a meaningful work allocation, and also struggle encouraging the performance-driven culture within the organization. Recruitment manager find it difficult in planning for the attrition, sourcing the right candidate, and providing better pre-joining experience, because if the resource pipeline is not streamlined, there are instances where an employee joining or day or on a joining date, they kind of join or kind of onboarded into an engagement next day to the joining date, which kind of doesn't leave a good pictures or experience for the new joiners. Then the internal team members who are kind of involved within the project delivery, they use different tools for collaboration, for the social, and also for time and expenses, right? Because of all this disparate system and data silos, the finance manager, they don't have complete visibility of the budget and the timeline, and the CXO find it difficult to predict the cash flow and also delve deep into the success of the projects. Once the project is completed and it is handed over to the customer service team, they find it difficult to monitor and support the AMC contract, and also is the client satisfaction is impacted, right? So different application leading to disparate system and data silos impacting the overall success of an organization. The typical challenges that are faced are kind of starting with lead to contract, where there is a lack of streamlined customer acquisition process, relationship nurturing, bid management process, leading to resource fulfillment and talent supply chain issue, where resources are not available on a timely manner, leading to delay in the project execution and ultimately leading to revenue loss. Collaboration also gets impacted because there is a lack of apt platform for the sales team handovering all the project artifacts to the project team and the project team collaboration by the team members. Disparate application that we discussed in the previous slide leads to additional steps and manual intervention in the opportunity closure, contract creation, project creation process, revenue confirmation, and a lot of additional steps. Operational efficiency also gets impacted because most of the client need feasibility to have agile and waterfall in the same tool, which kind of delays the project execution. And there is a lack of timely visibility of non-billable utilization impacting the overall utilization percentage of any company. Analytics and insight also kind of missing since because data residing in silos, a lot of investment needs to be made in coming up with analytics and insight. So disparate system and data silos kind of forces the organization to take reactive decisions instead of proactive decision, leading to reduction of competitive advantage in a rapidly changing business environment, right? Now, these typical challenges can be addressed with project operation. So using project operation, we can unify project-centric business in a single platform where all the stakeholders that we discussed previously can come together in a single platform of Dynamic 365 project operation, where project manager can accelerate the project delivery, resource manager can optimize the resource utilization, account manager can win more contract, project team can collaborate and use the simplified time and expenses module. HR manager can ensure that the workforce are productive and satisfied. Finance manager can deliver on time and accurate project-based financials. CXO has the increased business agility and operational excellence, and customer service can simplify management of services, tickets along with the SLAs, right? Now, how does everything fits in the bigger picture when it comes to Dynamic 365 platform ecosystem? So the journey starts with marketing campaign. So we do have a marketing module that can take care of prospect to lead process where inbound, outbound, and event-based marketing can be run, which will ultimately generate leads in the system. These leads can fit into the project operation or the CE sales app where lead and opportunity can be managed. Now, when it comes to project operation, there are two different tracks. One is the project delivery, second is project financial. We do have an option for CPQ, that is configure price quote, where we can create an estimate project, tag it to one quote, and based on the estimation project resource loading, we can accurately quote the client regarding the work that we're going to deliver. So basically, we plan and schedule generic resources. We can also identify and sort book resources, and this resource pool can be sustained by internal employees as well as subcontractors. We do have a HR module within F&O ecosystem where we can manage hire to retire cycle, and also we can maintain the resource repository within the project operation. In parallel, based on the resource loading on the estimate project, we can come up with an estimate cost. The delivery planning team can also create a budget and forecast, right? And based on this information, the project opportunity reporting can be done by the delivery planning team. Now, once the quote is closed as one, it automatically creates a contract which can be managed by the contract manager. And in parallel, the sort book resources can be confirmed, and once they're hard booked, their utilization also get impacted. Now, at this phase, we are in the execution phase. So the project execution takes place where the project manager kind of maintain the rate log, request for resources, like resource staffing, track the actuals, right? And the employee and the project team members, they can go ahead and capture the time, expenses, and the project purchases. Project executive can manage the financial performance. Similarly, in parallel, the project accountant can manage the cost. The cost include onboarding subcontractors as vendors, maintaining the vendor contracts, onboarding the vendors, subcontractors into the project operations. So all those can be managed within project operation itself. And based on the actuals of time and project expenses that is getting captured, the billing specialist can manage the billing. We can perform revenue recognition within project operation itself. If it is deployment type is project operation light, so that this is where it will end. We will be creating a performer invoice as Raj mentioned. If it is if the deployment method is resource non-stop, then we will get option of managing the revenue recognition and the final billing, which ultimately leads to financials, which is a record to report process within D365 finance and operation itself. And the service agent also, once the project is over and it is kind of transferred to the support team, the customer service module can be leveraged by the client as an app where we can have SLA-based tracking done by the service agents in the customer service app, right? So this is high-level pictures of how all the Dynamics 365 apps fit in together to provide a platform for the entire business process that any professional service company will be having. Now, enough of PPT. Let's deep dive into the system. Okay, so this is the project operation app. I've logged into a sandbox environment. As I said, Dynamics 365 is a platform with multiple apps. So this is where I can see all the apps that are there. And currently in this sessions where we are focusing on project operation, when I log in, I have access to multiple dashboards. So I can see all the works that I am doing, which are filter based, and I can keep track of all my activities that are planned for this week. Now, there are multiple workspaces or areas within project operation. So there are three major workspace in F&O terms or areas in CE terms where we have projects where typically the project managers and the billing team will be focusing on. We have resources area where the RMGs or the resource management group and the HR specialist will be working on. And then we have sales app where the sales team will be majorly focusing upon. Now, based on the segregation of duties and resource roles allocation within an organization, access to these modules will be controlled. Now, the journey, as I said, it kind of starts with lead and opportunity creation. This is one sample opportunity that has been created where we are kind of offering ERP and a CRM implementation where we have captured the current situation, customer needs, and proposed solutions, etc., etc. Against this, we have created two opportunity lines. One is for AMS, that is annual maintenance services, which is a fixed fee type of opportunity. And then we have one Dynamic 365 implementation services, which is your T&M based opportunity that has been created based on initial discussion with the client. Against this opportunity lines, we have created actually multiple codes. One of the codes is in draft, and since the cost was high, we kind of created another one, which is one. Now let me just open this opportunity up. Now within this opportunity, I have two code lines, which is in similar to the opportunity lines, where one is AMS, that is a fixed fee type of an engagement, and then there's one implementation one that has been created. Now the first step that is created is first we create something called, let me just open that. Yep. So we create something called an estimation project where we kind of create a dummy project or estimation project where we kind of come up with the various activity that needs to be performed within the scope of work that is being envisioned. And based on that, we kind of allocate generic resources because at this point of time, we do not have any resource identified to work on this. So generic resources can be tagged, which is nothing but a role that is being tagged to this particular task that needs to be done. Now, once this estimation project is created and we have a work breakdown structure created and generic resources based on specific roles that needs to be performing those activities within project operation, we kind of open up our code line, and within this code line, what we do is we define the chargeable roles, right? And based on that, we go to quote line details, and we have an option to import from the project estimate, right? So basically, in this, since it is a T&M, we have resource loading done at the work breakdown structure level, and we are inheriting or importing the estimate from the work breakdown structure into the quote line. Now, based on this, what it does is it creates a profitability analysis based on the resource loading that has been done at this quote level. We can also compare this to the customer expectation to see whether the quote that we're submitting is in line with customer expectation or not. Also, we do have a quote summary analysis that kind of gives us whether it's a profitable venture or not, what is the gross margin and adjusted gross margin, right? So we do have all this information flowing in automatically from the estimate project that we have created. The next step that gets created is once we have quote created, we kind of propose it. Once we win the quote or close the opportunity as won, a contract gets automatically created, which inherits the information from the quote, and we have contract lines created. So there are two contract lines, if you can see. One is for the AMS, second one is for the implementation. Now, since this is an ongoing contract and there might be scenarios where there is scope creep and there's additional change request that needs to be addressed, so we can keep on amending the contract to kind of inherit or incorporate change management scenarios within data center project operation. Now, once the contract has been created, if it is a fixed fee type of engagement, if I open that up in this contract line, in the fixed fee, the billing is a bit different compared to T&M. So in this fixed fee type of scenario, we have something called milestone-based billing, where we can define invoice frequency, billing start date, and automatically the milestone gets generated, and we can control the invoicing from here itself. The second type of project, the Dynamics project operation light and resource non-stock support is T&M, where if we go to the project itself in T&M, it's basically the billing is done on actuals, that is time and expenses, which are chargeable. So we do have tasks created. So this project was an estimation project. We can reuse the same project again for our actual delivery. We do have a work breakdown structure that has been created where we have the resource staffing done, the total effort envisioned, start date, end date, and a lot of additional information that helps the project manager to ensure that they stay within the budget. Within the execution phase, the project manager, they kind of come up with risk log, issue log, change tracker, status, right? And with project operation co-pilot functionality, we do have option to kind of create a task plan automatically based on the project description. We do have option to kind of generate risk assessment, which kind of goes through the resource allocation that is done, the resource pool that is currently there, right? And based on that, it comes up with a risk score and risk assessment that helps the project manager stay in line to ensure that this doesn't get converted into issues. And we do have option to generate status report, both internal and external, out of the box using the Copilot functionality. The project manager on the finance team also can define a budget, which can be imported from the work breakdown structure based on the roles. We can maintain multiple version of the budget, and we can track the budget of the project from here during the execution phase itself, right? Then during the execution, the project team can go to timesheet entries, and they can actually book their timesheet entries directly from the project operation window here. There are multiple options to import, one from assignment, second is from booking, and third is from Outlook appointments. So a lot of flexibility is provided here. And also we do have an expense management module where the project team, if they are traveling on project related travel, they can book their expenses within the expense management tool also. And as Raj mentioned, there are exciting updates that is coming in from Microsoft to bring in the mobility features of a mobile app so that we need not open a browser to fill the timesheet and expenses. So that's an amazing feature that is coming in, which we are all excited for. Now, once this timesheet and all are submitted, the project manager can do the approval from here. There are a lot of setup that needs to be done. But yes, all the time entries and expenses can be approved from D365 by the project manager here. We can also log a request for material uses within the My Work section. Similarly, the project manager also can maintain the purchasing. We can have vendors onboarded, the subcontracting vendors onboarded. We can define a price list or the resource rate with the vendors for the subcontractors. We can maintain subcontract within this app. And also we can maintain the repository of the contractor resources. If it's a fixed fee, we can have a milestone defined, and all the vendor invoices are tracked within D365 project operation. Now, once the project is the execution phase, the project resources and the team members will be booking timesheet entries and expense entries. So all these timesheet and expense entries are kind of visible under approved time, approved expenses, and it creates journals in the backend. And the actuals, once it is posted, it actuals gets created. Now we have a billing module. Within the billing module, the billing specialist persona, they can track all the billing activities that needs to be done. So fixed fee is kind of milestone billing, whereas the T&M are kind of time and material based on actual billing is done. And there are two ways to invoice it. One is we can select the backlog and we can mark it as ready to invoice. Also, we have option to correct the entries. If there are some miss or the wrong entries that has been done by the project team, we always have a functionality to correct those entries before we are invoicing it to the client. There are multiple ways to invoice it. One is we can invoice it the client from here, or we can go to the contract, and from the contract, we can invoice the client directly. So we do have create invoice option here. So the benefit of this is if this contract has T&M, so all the hours and the expenses that are chargeable will be the invoice will be created, and performa invoice will be created, which can be tracked separately here, right? So this is where we have all the invoices being stored. We can also track the statuses, whether it's billed or it's a new invoice, and we can see all those details of the invoices, like what is if it's a fixed fee milestone billing, what is the invoiced amount? If it is a implementation project, what is the invoice amount that is coming in, right? So we do have information here. Now, all this information, if it is project operation light, the journey ends with this proforma invoice creation. Now coming to the project operation resource non-struct version. Within that, what it does is the perform invoice. These are kind of, we do have option to batch import all the project transaction into project operation. It creates something called project operation integration journal to dual write. And we do have option to keep track of all the invoices that are getting generated. And we can see those invoices coming in directly in project operation. We can also see the hours that has been logged. And then once we post this invoice proposal, it creates an actual invoices against the project. The next step is the finance team takes care of the revenue recognition. So there are two types of revenue recognition based on the type of projects when it comes to project operation resource non-struct. If it is a T&M, then the revenue recognition happens based on the actuals, that is the actual time and the chargeable expenses that is being booked against the project. So based on the project category setup, that happens automatically. If it is a fixed fee type of an engagement, then the revenue recognition can happen in multiple ways. It can happen on straight line. It can happen based on percentage completion, right? So we can create multiple templates for revenue recognition. And if I go to revenue recognition, if you can see here, so based on the percentage completion, we can see that it is 34.38% complete, right? So in short, right from the sales or the deal management to creation to effectively help the sales agent use the resource visibility to come up with an accurate quote to contracting, to executing the project through the project management functionality within project operation, right to tracking the actuals in terms of time and expenses, and also billing it to the client and doing a revenue recognition, the entire end-to-end process that any project-centric company around the world can leverage for project operation to perform that activity. Last but not the least, we do have a rich resource management component. So during the execution, the project manager does have the functionality to raise a resource request. If we can go to the project app, and let me just open any of the project. So we do have option to raise resource request directly. So there are multiple versions. One is generic team members. That means on day one, we might not need all the resources to be loaded in the project. So generic resources or the team members are the ones which roles have been identified but not yet staffed. Named resources are the one which has been kind of identified and are currently working on the engagement. So we do have, project manager do have option to raise a request from the resources tab itself, and this can be staffed, right? So we do maintain the resource repository within project operation. The resource manager also have a schedule board where they can, based on the skill set, role, certification, or other attributes, they can find the best fit resource and use the schedule board to schedule the resources. There's a utilization dashboard where we can keep track of the target utilization and the chargeability of the team members within the organization. Resource requirement can be tracked, which will ultimately lead to resource request. So resource request can be fulfilled by the resource management group here, and all the fulfilled requests will show up in the booking here, right? So in order to support the project delivery, the resource management group can use the resource app to manage and maintain and staff the resources based on project requirement, right? So this is a brief introduction to project operation capability. We discussed the typical challenges that any professional organization faced. We also saw how project operation is addressing those challenges and how Dynamics 365 project operation fit into the bigger pictures of Dynamics 365 platform, right? So that's what I have for today. Over to you, Raj.
Thank you very much, Sribatsa. Thank you for that. Very well complemented and a great introduction to the overall features of project operations. We will be beginning our next session in the next 3 minutes, but there's one thing I need to go through with you all before we begin the next session. So let me share my screen. So there's one thing I forgot to share with you earlier, and okay, so we've got Sebastian coming up next. And then Dharanidharan. Rupa, obviously, for the keynote. We've got Mignon. We got Allan. We've got Tiago. Saurabh. One thing I forgot to mention, guys, is the sponsors, right? So thank you to the sponsors, Docs42, Document Automation Solutions for Dynamics, Stadion, and also one thing I need to announce to everyone, because this is new news, is everyone who's attending this boot camp gets a special £15% discount off Dynamics Minds. And if you don't know Dynamics Minds is I think it's the biggest Dynamics conference, right? This, by the way, is only for bootcamp attendees. people who are attending here, this boot camp is a special discount. So no one else can use this. It's purely for the boot camp. So yeah, that's the code. So make sure you use that code if you want to come. All the big speakers, all the speakers and all the key people in the Dynamics community will be at this conference. And it's a fantastic conference. It's the best Dynamics 365 conference. It happens in Europe, in the most beautiful location in Europe. So please do not forget, this is a great opportunity. If you want more sessions, more deep dives, please check this out. It's dynamicsminds.com. That's a special code. So make sure you take a copy of that code because it's not available to the public. Okay. So that's it from my side, guys. Thank you again, Sribatsa. And we are now ready to introduce our next speaker. And it's none other than Ian. So let's see if Sebastian is online. Sebastian Seiber. Hello, Sebastian.
Hi, Ross. How are you doing?
Hey, it's
Good
the
to
one
see
and only
you.
Sebastian Seiber. So, Sebastian, thanks for being online today, all the way from Germany. And feel free to share your screen.
Yes.
It's all working.
Yeah, just a second.
No worries.
Sharing my screen. Selecting the right window, you know the things.
Excellent. So for those who do not know who Sebastian Seiber is, he is actually one of the foremost proponents and experts of Dynamics 365 project operations. This is all he does. He focuses on project operations. So it's a great opportunity to learn from Sebastian today. So Sebastian, we're very, very grateful for you to join us today to share your knowledge with the community. And so without further ado, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ross, for those very kind and flattering words. I'm happy that I didn't had to speak right after your introduction in the first place because I was still red like a tomato. It's very nice. Thank you for having me. So, yeah. So welcome to today's third session with the introduction. My name is Sebastian, as you already heard, and we are going on to the topic from zero to hero in project operations. Before we start, I wanted to do a poll, but apparently I don't see the app thing here. So I created a straw poll for all of you. I put it in the chat right on your right-hand side. So, and I want to know how familiar are you with project operations today? And maybe if you can just click on the link and it hopefully works. I didn't test it because the last times I did it with the Teams poll and it worked fine, and I hope to do it as well here. But let's try it here. Just to understand where are you and what is your journey, that we can as well then consider that. While you're all doing that, and so by the way, you have four options. You're a power user, so you're an expert on the matter. You have some experience, so you worked with it, or maybe have seen some demos. You never heard about it. Yeah, that's the last one. So you're totally new, you're just interested in what to see here, or you heard about it but never used it. So I'm very, very interested to see how the audience is today, that we can as well maybe a bit fine-tune the content, because what we just saw is the overall concept, and it was awesome presentation, and I actually don't know what to tell you right now because everything was covered. So we just perhaps go into a bit more in detail. And while you're all voting, I will just wait few new minutes. I may can introduce myself. So my name is Sebastian. I work for Promix in Germany, actually. I'm in the field since more than 10 years now. I'm getting old slowly. My first touching point with project operations was actually with project service automation. It was a very, very early version. still like not made to the public. And it was because we had, as our company, an own ISV in exactly that field. So we did like project and resource management on CRM 2011, our award-winning ISV solution. And then Microsoft came around the corner and said, hey, this could be interesting for you. And then we were there and sitting and looking at something that would like directly change our business a little bit. And from that day on, I'm basically hand in hand with project operations. Yeah, and I'm very delighted to be here already. Good. So most of the people like close to, I can post as well perhaps the result in the chat. Give me a second. There we go. So we have like roughly 50%, so half of you who like voted for that. Thank you. Thank you so much for voting. Half of you heard about it, but not used it actively before. There are some people like 30% with like some experience, few power users, and as well as some of them never heard of it. All right. So I think then I'm still on the line with the let me just organize myself here a little bit. I'm still on the line, I think, with the learning objectives for today, or the agenda. So let's have a look if this fits. So technical, yeah. So for today, first of all, I'm gonna present you the learning objectives. Then we'll go with the core features. So just that you have everything on like one slide and you kind of get an idea. Then we as well have the different personas and use cases. We do have as well like a live demo where we look into I thought about the project and as well the sales integration because this is like the most common like entrance to it. We just saw it already briefly in the demo before, but I think when we just connect to that, I think this is well fitting. And then in the end, I do have like common extensions and as well have a surprise slide at the end, which is maybe interesting for you if you want to start your journey then. All right, I think let's do this, right? So let's start in with our learning objectives. So basically, I want that you understand the basics. This is not meant that you go out as like the expert of the field. I would wish it would be that easy, but understanding the basics already, I think, is the right entrance point to start with project operations. As well, being aware of the key features, just to know like in which situation the product maybe is a fit for the customer, or maybe for the process that this is might be like something that is covered there and that you can as well consult or make the extensions based on the fitting scenario here. And as well, learn about like the real life scenarios. So learn about my mistakes so you don't have to make them. And then we basically can already start in with the core features. I just try to open up the chat while I'm doing this. Perfect. All right, perfect. Then let's move on with the core features. So I put in like three different categories. So we have before the project, project execution, and after the project. Let's start with before the project. So before any project happens, what needs to be done? Yeah, we are in the sales process, so we have covered the lead. We have seen it before in the demo, so we have the lead, we have the opportunity, and at some point, I want to have the support for the sales, right? I want to do a good project estimation for whatever I'm offering to the customer. And this is where project operations already starts in a very early stage, deeply connected with the sales. It helps me just to provide a better resource staffing, a bit better project planning, because I'm connected lately at the quote when I want to send an offer out to my customer. And then as a sales guy, I give this topic of like this estimation and how much money should we do with this offer. I give this to my project manager. And as a project manager, I receive the project request more or less, and I can plan out what is needed to fulfill the needs for the customer, just from a technical, from a planning side, what would I need to do to hit all of the milestones? And that's what I want to do. And then I want to staff the resources. I can decide if I want to use named resources, so people which are working for my team, for example, or if I want to just insert placeholders, so-called generic resources, which have like maybe decent roles, decent skills, or maybe as well I have some preference on on resources and employees, which I want to include into my project. And all of this whole plan goes back into the quote. And then based on this, the sales representative can tweak the quote and can see if like the budget of the customer is held, if the quote is still profitability, if everything works out, and then send it out. And then at the end, I have a very detailed quote offering to the customer to just make a difference to my competitors, and as well to have the planning inside the system already. So when the contract comes, I just need to recheck the project and then maybe readjust it. We all know that like signing a contract always takes some time. So I may need to readjust it. I may need to move the project a little bit to the future, maybe adjust one or two resources, but then I'm good to start. I can find my project team, I can staff the right resources with the right skills, and then just go into project execution. So, and once we are in the project execution, I have all the capabilities which I already know from Project for the Web. So I can rearrange my project. I can work with buckets on the Kanban board. I do have a timeline. I do have dependencies. All of these nice things, and as well the team members working on the project. They can track their time. They can track their expenses when they're traveling, and just collaborate all together to make this project happen, and as well to be successful within this implementation. Everything as well like works from controlling over the expense and time recording until approval into the invoicing. So basically, the time recording is whatever we want to then earn at the end of the month. So make sure that all the people in the project team follow the time recording rules, that they track their times within their deadlines, and then everything is ready for the invoice to send out. And then after the project or with the project closure, I do have all of the reporting. I have all the data what happened during the project in terms of communication because it's in Dynamics. So I do get all the emails. I can relate all the emails to this project, and I can set up all the conversation to this project. I do understand why the customer is maybe not happy. I do understand if I matched all the timeline, um, if the deadline was hold, or if I maybe was late or something, if all the milestones are successfully reached or not. I have all of this data in the system, and this makes it super easy for me in the retrospective to go back to the project and understand like what happened, and as well then to learn from that and do it better in the next project, because like there is no single project that just goes from day one to the last day and everything is smooth, everything is perfect, and you're just living the life. It is not the reality. So there will always be like conflicts, there will only like different risks you take and different challenges across the project execution. And then in the retrospective, you have all the data available in the same like environment where you do have your sales data, where you do have your employee data, where you have everything integrated into like this one nice power platform, and can reach all of this information easily, for example, with Copilot. And of course, the integration with the ERP in the beginning, at the end, always recommended. I will tell you more about this at the end, actually. So overall, we're doing much more than just uh, yeah, planning our tasks and setting them into a relation and then task A starts today, goes till Friday, and then when this is done, I can start the next task, and I need to find like a guy for that. We have much more capabilities, so the whole core processes go beyond just the task planning, and we do like cost estimation. We do have a deeply sales support. There is a project and resource management tooling with that, but as well comprehensive billing and reporting functionality at the end of the process. So don't think about project operations as like just some extended task planning, because for the task planning, Microsoft actually has their own products. And maybe the next slide helps a little bit to make this um, order or just make this overview a bit more better for you. So what I brought in today is like the different products across the Microsoft ecosystem, because yeah, there are task planning features. Like for example, with Microsoft To Do, you do have like a task planning side, and you can type in your task. You do have a deadline, and you can assign it to yourself. Basically, it's like for your task, you can may as well collaborate with some people. As well, it has like this nice Outlook integration stuff like that. But maybe then it lacks in some kind of collaboration. So if you're managing like a team or something, you have the planner functionality. And then you can bring in the team, you can bring in different resources, all work together on one board, for example, and then um, as well organize your tasks there. If you want to go one step further and you want to have like a whole comprehensive task plan, which we just talked about, I do have a task plan. I work with buckets. I may have like a timeline view where I see my dependencies, where I see the critical path of a project, and as well can assign resources to that, and as well understand like, okay, if I move this task like 1 week to the future, this will delay my milestones, and this will delay my go live maybe at the end. For this, we have project for the web. And then there comes in project operation, which as well brings in this whole financials and resources capabilities, which project for the web, for example, is missing. So if I want to understand, is this project from a cost perspective, does it make sense to do that? Should we perhaps implement something like portfolio management to set different projects in comparison to each other to understand which one is more beneficial for my company to take on? Where do we have more risks or less risks, or how can we utilize our resources correctly? Or maybe as well just to understand which resources will be missing in a half a year in my company. For example, let's talk about AI. Do I have enough resources in the next 12, 24 months to cover these topics which my customer came up with? This is where like pre-operations comes into place, bringing in all of this deeper business logic in connection with your sales data, in connection with your integration models to everything what is there in the Power Platform, with this extensibility on top that just builds like the whole process out for you. And then of course there's MS Project. There is always MS Project for like the full complexity and the full set of features. But this is not the topic for today. We want to focus on project elaborations, of course. And just as an understanding, like the first three ones, they are just now covered with this like new planner SKU. So this new SKU for the new planner. So it's kind of all in together right now, where you have like premium and not premium features. If you do have questions to that, we can may put this on the end, and maybe I can answer some of them if there is some confusion, because from the past I can tell there usually is. So yeah, just put your questions into the chat. I will be as well longer with you, so I can as well answer them later. All right, so it's clear, right? So for just simply go on and planning tasks, the Microsoft platform has a lot of different products to offer that and to make this happen for us. But if we talk about costs, if we talk about chargeability, or if it's profitable, to do a certain project, or can we offer this project to our customer with this timeline, with this kind of resources. This is always like ringing the alarm and bringing in purchase operations, because this is like where this USP is laying in. It's nice that it has like this project planning grid and so on. It's very comfortable for the project managers. But the deep strength, in my opinion, is laying on the pricing and on the cost and on the billing rates. So to just combine everything into like one system together with like the finance aspect, with the sales aspect, and the project planning aspect. And this is also something that gets more clear when we talk about the use cases and trying to understand like who are the people working with that product, right? So if we think about our VP of Finance who wants to see like an overall introduction into the project financials and all the reporting, and at the end he's basically just interested how much everything costs, and if we make some money out of it, then this is the right tool for him. So we then just build the Power BI reports for him. We provide him with the reporting in terms of the system available data, plus perhaps then as well data that comes from outside, and then just piling up everything into a Power BI report so they can see and make the changes on a very high level for them. But it doesn't stop there. So we as well do have a project manager who then, of course, wants to create and manage their tasks, because that's what they need to do. They need to review the budget. They need to understand what dependencies are important within my project, where I need to stay into my deadlines, and where do I need to add like more buffer to reach the goal. And the goal is to make our customers happy. So definitely the project manager has a role in this whole ecosystem, and definitely as well task management is a part of the whole process, but it's like not the main thing, right? And if you could just go further, there's as well like our happy project team member who's done like receiving all of this information. Like we're talking about when should I work for this customer? When should I work for this client? What do I have to do? I'm overbooked, and all of this stuff, right? So they know about like what they're doing, when they should do it. The system keeps track basically if someone is utilized or not. So we don't get into a situation where your colleague is just sitting around and I don't know what to do on like a Thursday afternoon, and you're hustling to get everything done, and you're trying to keep up the pace, and you're trying to make 5 customers happy at the same time. Let me tell you something. This won't work. You won't be able to please all of these customers. You won't be successful with that. You just like overwork yourself and then burn out and go like away from this company. And then this was very trusty. But like with the project operations, idea is to make all of this information transparent, to have insights about your allocation as well, like the whole company's allocation for the team leaders, for the operational leaders, to understand like, oh, this guy, he's perhaps not allocated to our projects. Why is this the case? Do we need to offer maybe some training to him? Do we need to maybe put it in spotlight a bit? Do we need to offer him some training to educate himself, perhaps? And then, of course, I want to track my time, because the more I work, the more I get paid, hopefully at some point. And as well track the expenses, because I want to get my money back when I'm on a business trip. So very, very default and comprehensive and understandable needs I have as a project manager here. And as well from the PMO side, like I already talked about it a little bit, like overseeing a bit like the spending limits. Are we close to hit the budget cap for the customer? As well, working with different contracts. Sometimes contracts do have multiple projects with it. The projects are executed with different project managers, so we still need to have a global overview. Do we have enough in the pipeline for the next next year and stuff like that. And if you're talking about the pipeline, then we're luckily with our sales guys. So our sales is done as well in bound if in this whole process to like understand, okay, what is going on with the customers? Can we upscale some of the opportunities? We can do this very detailed time material based quotes based on the project plan, which I just designed a little bit earlier today, where I talked about giving about the project request to our project manager, and then the project manager plans out the project schedule, and then this comes back to our sales guys into the quotation, and then we can directly offer that to the customers. So it's they're backed up. They just don't do anything to get the deal. They just try to work together with the project management department to get the deal, which is then still feasible for the project management department to execute, and still is profitability at the end. And then last but not least, we still have as well the resource managers who then basically overlook the billable utilization, so that we spend the time of our employees on the right things with the right priorities. We're taking care about resource requests. We just saw that a few minutes ago in the first demo, where we requested a resource for a generic resource with a certain skill, with a certain role, and then as well managing the utilization there, and as well then have the outlook for like the upcoming months and upcoming projects to understand like which skills, which roles are we missing. Maybe we need more developers. We don't know, but with project operations, we do have an idea. And all of this together, all of this like collaboration, brings a lot of challenges with that, because as you can see, there are like a lot of different needs across all of the different departments, and we're going really from like left to right through the whole company, basically from a business process perspective, to understand like, okay, they need this, and the project team member maybe needs a mobile time tracking application, and all of that stuff, all combined into one product is a very, very tough thing. And with all of this different views, different expectations, different requirements, Microsoft builds like this product in I think very good shape at the moment, where we just have like a lot of different fields where we add new features, and it's very nice to see, and it's very challenging on the same time for you as an expert or future expert to understand like what do we need, what we don't need, because as well, because we have so many aspects, we maybe don't have a sales process there. We maybe don't have a VP of finance who wants to see any reports. Fine. Maybe we don't have a resource management because everything is handled by the project managers directly. It's also fine. We can all do that. But we need first to understand the whole scope to then narrow it down to whatever the customer needs. And how this looks like, we will see in the demo, which I need to reshare my screen. Give me 1 second. Grab a drink. And then I need to reshare this one. Just a moment. I hope this is the right window. Otherwise, you see some things I'm working on. No, perfect. That's the thing. Awesome. All right. And we just saw in the demo right before, very, very good overview of like the whole business process in like a few steps. And I thought, let's start with the project and just understand what is there step by step, and then focus on the part where we have the sales integration available. So we will as well play it through from the quote side, and then perhaps then closing into some details here and there. So if you've seen it right before the demo, that's fine. Repetitive makes the the brain grow. So that will work with us as well. So we do have a Copilot for sales implementation. Of course, I don't want to search for that. We have a Copilot for sales implementation. Of course, it's Copilot because everything is Copilot today, right? We do have some key objectives here and description. We do have a customer, of course, and a currency, and then we do have this contracting unit, which is like the first thing which comes to our eyes, which is like weird because we don't know that, for example, from the sales module or from marketing or customer insights, or from like any other tool for which we do have in Dynamics. And this contracting unit is basically the department of the company who's executing that project. This will be especially important when we talk about the pricing. So the contracting unit, we just jump into the record in the hope that you all have recognized which project it was before, so we can find it together later on. In this case, AI demo organization unit. It's a demo system. We do have a cost price list for US dollars, and this defines basically how much my people costs in this environment. And for this AI demo here, they all cost $90, which is nice because I don't need to make any adjustments to the pricing or stuff like that. But of course, I can add a new role that, for example, my developers, they do cost a bit more. They're expensive these days. So I'm adding a new role, developer. So this is called a pricing dimension, basically. We have another one with the resourcing unit. So in this case, you can see we do have a resourcing unit for the AI demo here. So we're selecting this one as well. This makes sense. And then the price for the developers is 110 US dollars. And we just add this. And this is how we can adjust our pricing or our price list in terms of adding additional pricing to different roles. And we can as well extend it, which is actually my favorite feature. I hope someone from Microsoft hears that. Custom pricing dimensions is my favorite feature because you can just bring into this like role price thing here, which we see on the right hand side in this little quick create. You cannot just bring in role or resource unit. We can bring in every table, every value, whatever your company or your customer makes the pricing up to. If they want to do up their pricing based on like the geolocation where the project is, you can do that. If you want to do your pricing based on the city they're in or on the country, as mentioned, geolocation, you can do that. If there is any like other value, any choice or any lookup, a custom table, anything, you can bring it in, you can configure that, and then you can just set it in context. And how it works basically, I don't want to add a new one. How it works is everyone from Permix AI demo will be at a cost of $90 per hour, and all developers will be at 110, and that's it. And if I want to make some changes, for example, for the general pricing, so we create a new price override, which then, for example, change in percentage of 10%, we can select a scope, for example, for the Premix AI demo, and then create this one. And so we can as well adjust the pricing for a percentage value, for example, from an effective date. So from today on, all of these resources on the Premix iDemo will now cost $99 per hour because we need to go for time, right? Everything gets more expensive, so as well we need to get or we need to add as well some pricing to it, and so I can like see that based on it. We can as well add transaction cost or a markup over the transaction cost. All right. So pricing is really like a nice tool here, and it works pretty convenient for most of us. Yeah, so the pricing is determined by the contracting unit. The sales pricing is then on the contract. So we don't need to care about this in the project, right? If we now go into my task plan here, I hope you can follow me because pricing is usually like not the first topic you show in a demo, but I really like that. So let's go into my grid view. I do have like some tasks here. Basically, it's researching a telescope because I generated this project plan, and this is based on the description. And if you paid attention to the description, it is like something about exploring the space. So it's kind of nerdy, but it's fine. We can as well bring in into this grid here new custom columns. You cannot change them yet right now. So this trend here I added with like a little emoji here, so you can extend it. I can as well kind of hide this, for example, and bring it back later on if I need it. Or for example, I can use custom colors to work in the back end with it. But nevertheless, I do have a lot of information which I can store here. I do have a duration, start and finish. I do have different labels, which I can as well customize. So if I, for example, have like on-site meetings, I can tag them with the labels and then as well bring this information into this detailed settings. Here you can still see it's suggested by AI, so I just remove that here. And then, for example, add another label for architecture, and as well like use different colors to then just customize that, for example, aqua, and say like this is a workshop. So like this. Oh, sorry, I misclicked workshop. There we go. So then this says it's a workshop, and then so I can as well categorize these, and I can use these later to search for my task to understand like what is the idea behind this task, and as well have like very different information goes from the bucket where it's working on. So I have different buckets here, for example. I have like some questions to this one, so let's put it into questions bucket, and as well maybe it's an important task for me to do. I can also add checklists, which is very convenient. So I still have like a layer underneath like the tasks to understand as well like what needs to be done, what is the acceptance criteria of that task, and what happens basically then within the execution. So I can just make sure that my team members then follow these instructions and then figure it out for them up front. I do see my custom fields here, which is nice. I see my dependencies. I can as well change this to like from finish to start, to finish, start to start, start to finish, and so on. And I can as well now put in like delay type. So I can lead or lag by different days. So I'll lead them basically by 1 day. So it leads by 1 day basically. From here I as well can add additional dependencies, and talking about milestone planning, I can connect it to goals as well. So I can set up goals, which are right here. I think this is integration into Viva goals as well. So I can connect to existing goals. So this is, for example, going into my milestone Q1. And then I basically see this Q1 milestone here, which then is in the past. So maybe we should put it into the future. So I'm still able to get this. All right. So I do have like all the basic information here in my grid plan, and I can organize, as mentioned myself, into into the board. We can see here's our ordering telescopes, workshop, on-site architecture task, which is high priority. So I can still as well go in here, make changes to that. This one here is fully drag and droppable, like the overview in the project for the web. I do have my timeline. I just need to find my projects. Where are we? Can we zoom out? Yeah, there we are. It's always a bit difficult. Demo data, right? So I can see my dependencies. I can see like if I move this right here, then like how everything else moves. Of course, this has like impact on my grid plan and the overall like timeline. So I'm very confident in just moving things around in my demo data. I would never do in production. Just not touching anything there. But I can see basically everything what is related here. I as well have the option to show the critical path. So critical path is basically an extension that highlights tasks or whole groups of tasks where the start and end date, most likely the end date is like on the end date of the related project. So there is like no room for delays here. All right. This is about the project plan. So just very quickly to guide you with the basics. And then if you like planned everything out, if you really want to go into detail, I definitely recommend you I think I need to go back a little bit in time. I really recommend you to check out the assignments tab when I need to find something. I don't get it. Where we are. Where do we? Oh, it's March, right? There we go. No, it just don't show something. Where are we? Oh, we're in 2026. Oh, okay. Okay, we are a bit like off with the dates, but no, we have some data. So basically, what is the idea here? I do see now on a monthly overview how my people are planned for my project. So I can, as a project manager, specify the hours per day my team member needs to work. So has as well direct input onto the utilization and understanding of like how much time these people need to work on my project, how much expecting of costs I get at the end, and how is the utilization for all the other projects. So this is definitely something to play around a little bit. As well, very nice addition is to set up the base set of tasks and then go right into here and just plan out all the resources and then see how this has effect to the plan. Because if I change here something, like adding here 40 hours, not only this developer, I need 2 developers now or 3 because like, no, it's per month, right? So it should be good. But definitely like it adds like more budget or like more hours to this task, to this developer, and enables me to have a higher costs, which is maybe good, maybe bad. All right, how do we get to this state basically? How do we get to the running project where we do have all of this information available? So basically, I thought we start at the quote. You already saw it a little bit in before, so I just will speed up this a little bit. We have a quote. This is for pharmaceuticals. I just not have very much information on it, so very basic information. I just have like one customer, so I can as well split the billing between multiple customers. But for here, I just have everything is quite default. I have like a customer budget of 45,000, and as a sales guy, I now go in, I create a new project line, which I already did in a matter of time. I can as well add my regular products. So it seamlessly integrates with the existing tool of the sales process, where we just add as well the whole product catalog to that. So this is all there. I can just add both of them, and you can quote not only the project services but as well your product services at the same time. So let's jump into my quote line here, which is just a different type from we just saw it for a second. It's a project-based service type. So it is just a different type from my quote line, which I'm using for my products. But in the end, it's the very same thing. And I do have a new project for this created here. So let's jump into it. And we are in the exact same form as before. So there is no difference in between this is a project for the planning or this is a planning for the project for the execution. So both worlds are exactly the same, and that's the nice refreshing things that I, as a project manager, just have the same tools available over and over again. And for the convenience of today's session to be on time, I already created a project plan and assigned here some resources. So what I did is I generated like some generic resources, which typically works via this three dots here. And then I add a generic resource with that. The generic resource can be different in be an employee or a contract worker. So you can as well cover subcontractors, for example, or just include them into your resource staffing process. So if you have some contract workers, you can consider them, but you never have to choose them. In our case, we as well want to add like a different guy here. So maybe we need another project manager because maybe Sebastian has too much to do, and then we just need another project manager to be adding that one here. So, and then we have the project manager 2, which is like a new role, but it's like a not named resource. We can as well find someone for just what was her name for the task? Oh, Maria was her name, Maria. So we can as well search here for people. So I can directly as well add Maria to this one. Once you're exploring project operations, it's very important to understand the difference between resource scheduling with the scheduling board and as well the direct assignments here, because there can be a gap and you want to decide in like ideally one of them, because the collaboration between both features is like not very ideal. In general, I think the resource scheduling is definitely something you need to look in from project to project, which you want to do. I just giving you the hint to keep an eye on that. If you want, if the resource scheduling is centric, so centralized in the company, I think the scheduling board is a great feature to handle that. If the project manager is just aware of the project team, you don't need to go this expensive way around that. They can just add the resources to that. You just need to be aware that in the reporting, this is two different entities and two different tables. So you need to kind of figure it out where you to combine it or just decide for one or the other approach. All right. So I added some people here. So this makes up my team. And my team is now myself, most important, and as well some other generic resources. So I don't have any like human being, basically. They're only placeholders. And if we think back of my sales integration here, I just can go back to my quote very quickly. I still have like 15 minutes to go. I still go back to my quote, to my project line, and what I want to do right now, I want to, there it is. I want to import all of these project estimates from my project. So everything what the project manager now has done, me as a sales employee, I just want to get from the project. So I'm importing this right away. I don't make any changes here. I just hit OK on the dialog. And then what is happening, based on the project plan, based on the resources I have assigned to, based on the cost and sales across the setup of my price lists, I do now receive new quote line details, which make up a price for the services my project manager has planned out. And I hoped that when I finish that sentence, this process would be done. There is it. All right. We as well do have, for example, an expense, two expenses actually. And then we get a lot of like, yeah, time-related input here. So we do see all of these different roles like team member, maker, project manager again, team member, and so on. And there we as well get like the quantity, and the quantity is the amount of hours they are assigned to my project task. And the price, this is what is coming from my price list, right? So this is what I'm getting from my price list understanding, and this is like not the cost price, it's the sales price. So because I'm on the sales side, I don't care about the costs. I want to offer this to my customer and match their criteria. And as you can see, I'm way over it. I didn't plan it out before. I just added it randomly. So I'm way over that amount which I can spend. So my not exceed limit is like 50K and I'm like 100K over that. So what I can do now, I can reduce the scope. I can talk to the customer, but I have a more better understanding like what the requirements of a customer at the end brings to our operation side. So I'm much more, as a sales guy, I'm much more collaborated into this whole process and understand basically what happens. All right, good. For the sake of time, I think we will go back to the presentation again. For this, I need to reshare my screen. And there we go. Let's find the right window. I just explored yesterday that, or basically today, that when I share in my presentation in PowerPoint online, so in the Teams online with like the button in PowerPoint share in Teams, that like a lot of animations are not taking into consideration. So that's why I'm back to sharing my screen like a person before COVID did, basically. So this was very disappointing. All right. So we saw in the demo some basics just around the sales integration and the project planning, what I can do. There is more about that. And as well, there's of course Copilot. So as you know, everything Microsoft related in the past month has been driven by Copilot. So of course, there's as well Copilot in project operations. So you can, for example, generate your project plan. You do have this little Copilot drop down here on the top. I hope you can see my mouse here on the top, where you can do several commands and you don't need to use like the chat integration on the right hand side. So leave this by side and use these buttons. You can generate your project plan. This will be based on the title and description of your project. So whatever you put into title and description fields, this will be taken into consideration to creating the project plan. Unfortunately, no templates or something like that. It will just generate always a new project plan. But I think this is very nice when you don't know where to start your project plan and you just need to like something what you can change. So I used to call this the skeleton approach a little bit. So you do have the skeleton, you do have all the bones, and then you just add your stuff to it because it's much more easier to change something that's already there than just creating something new from scratch. And there for that it helps perfectly. And the same with the project risks. You can analyze throughout your assignments and your project plan and your milestones, and it will point out the risks. This will be only available if you already have actuals on the project. Actuals means these are the records which we later get into the invoice. So these are approved time entries. So as soon as we have these on a project, we can as well analyze the project risks. This as well happens over this button right there. Same as my favorite of these features, the internal and external status report, which provides me a comprehensive view on the current status of the project, about the financials and the tasks. And now new as well in the past weeks, we added or received support for creating time recordings and descriptions. This lately got a nice update as well to work a little bit, more extended to the initial approve functionality. So you can now as well plan your next week or do your time recording for last week. And it works a bit more stable, I have the feeling. So they made some good improvements with that. So based on your assignment, the employee can basically automatically create their time recordings. And if we talk about future extensions, definitely have to talk about integrations. So I think Ras already talked about like the whole ecosystem. Like we on the Azure, we do have a Power Platform with many powerful tools. We do have Microsoft 365 on the side, and of course we have Microsoft Dynamics 365, where all of the processes are just integrated. So we are basically here in this area of Microsoft Dynamics 365, and everything else is there to be integrated. So everything else is available for us to extend, to bring in additional information, to automate a lot of stuff, to build Canvas apps, to make things easier for your employees, and as well to integrate with different other services, from third-party tools to Microsoft-owned tools, from ISVs to first-party apps. Everything is available. Whatever you're already doing on the Power Platform will be as well there for Fresh Operations to be available. And this leads me to my common extensions, with the foundation of them is the ERP integration. So in the deployment types, and as well in the demo before, we have seen like how the product automate or by default integrates to finance and operations system. Because I'm from Germany, we don't have a lot of ERPs which are finance based or finance operations based. There's a lot of SAP or different other ERPs, and usually they're around these companies for several decades now. So tell them to change the ERP will not work. And what we have done in the past, very often, very successful, is to integrate any kind of ERP system to that process. And this works because the Power Platform is such a powerful tool to just handle those integrations so seamlessly that we can just build whole new custom processes to a point where, like, I think the most customized process was where we completely did not have a sales process, and we just received like a comprehensive integration file from the ERP system with like a lot of data, a lot of information, and based on that automatically created a project contract for the projects and the project itself. And then the process of project operation started to handle the project, to handle the project cost, and the profitability. It's a very, very, very expensive word for me. And then as well go through the whole process to the invoicing, where like the invoicing which we created in the system was a pro forma invoice, which then goes back to the ERP. So this whole ERP integration is really like a backbone of this whole product, and is really super powerful to follow, and it's definitely worth in like every bigger project with an ERP integrated or available. Then of course, any kind of collegates and checks, people can go left and right anywhere in Dynamics. That's how it's built. That's how project operations is built. So you definitely have to get the right to delete things, to share things, to change things. So it definitely makes sense to implement some quality gates. I would as well recommend you to customize and reduce a little bit the views and the columns in the views if you want to customize that, just to make it a bit more easier for the end user to pick it up, to just have the acceptance of them. Then, of course, the cornerstone of my presentation, custom pricing and pricing dimensions, my personal favorite feature, because it just is with me such a long time. It's like a companion, and I just never stop talking about that. It's a very super nice feature to bring in custom pricing dimensions for each and every situation, and trust me, it just works. It's beautiful. Then let's go, of course, you want to extend perhaps to controlling. I started talking about that when I have like approved a time entry, this will be an actual, and this will be then considered as tracked against the project. And for some projects, especially smaller ones, or as well projects where a lot of people work on, this is maybe a little bit late. So you may want to have on controlling that already gets into touch with these values and the booked time on your project when it's still in a very early draft stage. And then at the end, of course, there's automation. There's maybe the small asterisks in your heads will say automation, I can do something with AI. Yes, you can do that. And but in general, automation is a great thing to make processes a little bit easier for the end users, and just to help out with data quality and as well to balance the data across the whole process. Yeah, so I hope you learned a little bit about like the basics and starters of bridge operations. So I have a small summary. Um, so the very first step, so deciding on a deployment approach, which Raz talked about, is a very key element in these first steps. As well, the point about the system configuration, it's like not like sales, you just hop in, you put in some demo data or you put in some base data and you just start working on it. There is like a process with the pricing and organizational units and settings you want to take up front before anyone can access the system and create their projects. That's definitely something to consider. Then, of course, we talked about the basics, especially the project for the web integration, and as well like the advanced sales and PMO support. So to help just those two groups of people to understand what is going on both sides of the world, in the sales world and in the operations world. So this is just a major point into this collaboration. And of course, the key features where we talk about the project cost and forecast management. So you as well have the opportunity to track all the time recordings against, like, for example, a budget, and then forecast the current development and have real-time insights into everything that happens across the project. And yeah, I hope you get a better understanding on the bigger picture, that it makes sense to consider the full process. So it's not only just task planning. There's a lot of different personas to include into the conversation, and as well, you should always keep an eye on the ERP integration because it can be a real game changer for this process. And I told you there is one surprising slide at the end, and because I thought about like this is like for a lot of people like the start of a journey. So don't just stop with this awesome global bootcamp here. So I have some homework for you. So please start your free trial. There's the link. Because I thought I will present with PowerPoint live, you can just click on it, but I will put these links into the chat as well. So start your free trial. You get a 25 license as a free trial for project operations. For the you don't need to have like a finance system implemented. You can just start a new tenant, and you just can start on a fresh site and just provision a CE site environment, and then get started with Microsoft Learn. So I've linked the three most favorable learning paths here to know more. And then there's like full Microsoft documentation, and there's as well a project operation enthusiast group on LinkedIn, which as well makes sense to join because you as well get all the updates in there. Rupa is very active there to respond and as well to publish updates there. And last but not least, stay in touch with the creators, with people you see here, not only myself, but as well with like everyone who's there. There are a lot of people in the chat. There are a lot of people in this whole community, which you're very, very happy to help. And they're always friendly. They're always there for questions. So reach out to these guys if you do have questions, if you have concerns, if something is like maybe not clicking for you. Make sure to ask your questions. Go to these conferences, go to Dynamics Minds peoples. If you get this code from Raz, use it. I will be there as well. We will talk there as well about bridge operations. I think I have 2 sessions on that. And yeah, hopefully see you there. Thank you to all the sponsors. It was a pleasure talking to you today. And I think this is time. We are like 2 minutes over, but I hope, Ross, this is okay. So back to you.
Thank you so much. Fantastic. Round of applause for Sebastian, everyone. And there are a couple of questions quickly. So first and
Yes.
foremost, Mohit asked about what is the use of a bucket? And Neil responded, buckets can be used as phases or stages, a bit like
Yes, like a
Kanban
Kanban
boards.
board, basically.
Excellent. And then Mohit also continues to ask about how to use Copilot in Project Ops, but you kind of covered that already, and there will be another session on that later on today.
Yes, that's
And then
what I thought. There will be more sessions. So I think like there are more sessions to like put on to the topic. So I'm very early on today, so I just want to touch some points, but as well, basically, we had the slide. I can as well put it in the chat. Um, what is there covered in Copilot today?
And Mohit finally asks, can you explain use case scenarios of project budget?
Project budget. Yes, so the use case is you plan out your project plan, right? So you do all of this um, planning together with the different resources, with their cost, with their roles. So you do have like an estimates plan of how much your costs will be, right? And your sales, basically. This goes in together with material and expenses, both again from the cost and the sales side and as well for especially materials from a quantity side. So, for example, you do have certain materials which you need to deliver to the customer in terms of maybe in the construction industry, you have, I don't know, planks of woods. Let's keep it simple. And the budgeting basically helps to track the progress on what is happening on the execution side to your planning. So there is a way to match actuals, so the approved time entries and expenses to these budget lines, which you will then create. These budget lines will be either created by your project client, so you can just import it, very similar to the quote which we saw, or you can create them by yourself, and then the system matches those actuals against these budget lines, so it tries to automatically identify the right budget for the right task or the right service, and then you can basically to um, review and control this execution during the delivery of the project. And you can as well make adjustments or change the forecast behavior if you may see you're done earlier or you need more time, more budget, or the progress is not as you expected. So this is where you would use the budget, and overall the budget would be something like which you as well go through like an approval process. So it makes sense to as well extend it with some supervisor approvals or something where you need to ask for approval for a certain level of the budget or for a certain amount or something like that. I hope this was answering the question.
Thank you, Sebastian. Neil's got a question regarding a resource and scheduling scenario, but the next session will answer that anyway, Neil. So hold your
Perfect.
hat, Neil, because we'll be doing a deep dive into that and you should get your answer. So, Sebastian, please share your contact details in the chat
Yes,
so
will
that
do.
the community can keep in touch with you. Thanks again for sharing all those great resources to aid their learning. And hopefully, you can meet Sebastian in the flesh as well at the next conferences. So once again, huge thank you, Sebastian, for supporting the community and
Yeah,
hopefully see
thank
you
you for having
soon.
me. Thank you, Ras, for organizing. Hope to see you soon.
Fantastic. Thank you. Wow, that was Sebastian. And now, without further ado, our next speaker is all the way from New Zealand. It's 2 a.m. in the morning. So let's get him online. Hello there, Dharani.
Hello, hi Russ.
Hello there, Dharani. Dharani, thank you so much for staying up so early in the morning, in 2 a.m. in the morning, to present today. So I'm not going to delay you any further, so you can get your rest. Are you able to share your screen? Yes, excellent. So we can see your screen, Dharani. So without further ado, Dharani, I'd like to hand over to you. Thank you so much, Dharani.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction and for providing me this wonderful opportunity. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And it's a pleasure to be here today. And I appreciate you taking the time to join this whole bootcamp session today. And today I'm here to present the topic on the project management and the resource planning in the Microsoft Dynamics 365 CE project operations. Before we deep dive into the topic, I would like to take a few minutes to introduce about myself. My name is Dharanidharan Balasubramaniam, but most people call me Dharani, and I'm based out of Sydney, Australia. And I'm a Microsoft MVP in the business applications area. And I have been working extensively with the Power Platform and the Dynamics 365 CE projects, helping the organizations to streamline their process and their maximize their efficiency. I actively contribute to the community by speaking at the events, writing the technical blogs, and sharing the knowledge through the video content. In my professional journey, I have worked on various Dynamics 365 CE implementation, specializing in solution architecture, IALM, and the enterprise mobility. That's my core part. And today, I'm excited to share some insights on the project management and the resource planning using the Dynamics 365 CE project operations, a solution that always help the organizations effectively manage the project, optimize their resources, and improve their service delivery. And here is the quick agenda. So let's get started. So in this session, we will explore how Dynamics 365, the project operation, is going to help the organization manage the entire project lifecycle from sales and planning to execution and the financials. We'll also discuss resource management, scheduling, and also how to ensure the right people are assigned to the right projects. Let's begin with overview of the project operations, and also we'll understand why it is a game changer for the business managing the projects at a scale. So in today's fast-paced world, the businesses are constantly working on projects, whether it might be an IT implementation or a construction project or consulting engagements, or it can be a service-based initiatives. Managing this project efficiently is a crucial for on-time delivery, resource optimization, and also the financial profitability. However, the organization often face so many challenges such as poor resource planning, lack of project visibility, misaligned financial tracking, and inefficient collaboration so within the team. So this is where the Dynamics 365 CE, the project operation, comes in. So now we'll take a minute to understand why do the organization need a solution like project operations. In many business, the project team struggles with the disconnected system, lack of visibility into the project performance, and inefficient resource utilization. So with the Dynamics 365 project operation, you get an end-to-end the project management solution that allows the team to plan and manage the project efficiently using the structured workflows, which is available inside the platform. And also you can optimize the resource allocation by assigning the right people to the right task. And you can track all the resource, time, expenses, and the budgets to ensure the project remains profitable. And also you can gain the real-time insights and reporting for better decision making. So those things are easily achievable using the Dynamics 365 project operations. The project operation is built on three core pillars. One is the project management. The second one is the resource planning. And third one is the financials part. The project management, the name itself says, it's managing the complete project. It helps the team collaborate, define the project timelines, assign the task, and monitor the complete projects. And the resource planning, it ensures the skilled professionals are available for the projects, like the skills, characteristics. So all those things we will define in the resource planning. And we also make sure so all the skilled professionals are available for the project, preventing the overutilization or the underutilization of those resources in the project. Next is the financials and the billing. It provides an accurate cost tracking, invoicing, the profitability analysis of the complete project. This solution is designed for a variety of the industries and the roles, including the project managers who need their visibility into timelines, budgets, and the task. Then next, the resource manager who need to ensure the right people are assigned to the right project. Now, the finance teams who need the accurate billing and invoicing, the profitability tracking. Next, the last but not least, the executives and the decision makers who require the real-time insights into the project performance and the revenue. Now that we understood the project operation is what is project operations, so the high-level overview we have seen and why it is important and what all the key capabilities we have seen, and also we have seen like who benefits from the project operations. Now let's explore how it supports the project management and the resource planning in more detail. So now let's start with the project management essentials. To successfully manage a project's organization needs a structured approach that allows for efficient planning, execution, and tracking. So with this Dynamics 365 CE project operations, it provides an powerful tool to help the project managers stay on top of their project with a clear visibility into each stage. So the first step, the project creation, the first step in managing any project is setting up correctly. In Dynamics 365 CE project operations, we can create a project in two ways. Either you can use the templates, the predefined project templates are there. It helps to standardize the project structures and also it helps you to save the time. Or else you can create the project from scratch as well for unique projects. The managers can build the project plan manually. When setting up a project, we define the key parameters such as start date, end date, the project type, and what is the billing method, and how the deliverables are going to be. So this ensures the project is aligned with the business goals from the very beginning. And as I mentioned earlier, so this is the very key step. So we should carefully do this. You can do it in the two ways. And next is the work breakdown structure. Now in the first step, we have seen like the project creation part. Once the project is created, the next step, we need to define the work breakdown structure. This work breakdown structure, it will help in breaking down the entire project into smaller manageable components. In Dynamics 365 CE project operations, we can create a hierarchical task structure where the larger works are divided into smaller tasks. This makes it easier to assign the work, estimate the timelines, and also to be really helpful for the managers to easily track the progress. With the structured work breakdown structure, the project managers can improve the project control by tracking the progress at different levels. And also they can identify the dependencies and ensure that all the tasks align with the overall project goals. And one more thing, they can also enhance the collaboration by clearly defining the responsibilities for each work item within the project. And now next, we do have the task management. And managing the task effectively is very crucial for ensuring the smoother project executions. In Dynamics 365 CE project operations, we can define each task with dependencies, ensuring that are linked logically so that it can be executed in the right order. So that is one of the core, the facility which is available. And then the duration, setting the estimated time frame for each task to maintain the project timelines, and constraints, applying the specific conditions to tasks such as the start date not earlier than this particular date or finish date later than this particular date. By structuring the task properly, the team can optimize the workflows and they can avoid the bottlenecks, and also the team members can ensure the timely completion of the project. The last but not least, the visual planning with the Gantt charts. And this is a great way to visualize the project timelines by using the Gantt charts, which is built into the Dynamics 365 CE project operations. With this Gantt chart, if you ask me like what the project managers can do with this, they can view the complete the project timeline at a glance. and they can drag and drop the task to adjust the schedules dynamically. And also they can identify the critical paths to focus on their key milestones. And they can quickly spot any delays and they can take any corrective actions if required. So this approach, this visual approach, makes it easier for the people in the project to keep the projects on track, and also they can adapt to any changes in scope or within the resources. Now, let's see, like this is the some of the screenshots. Since I was not able to add since I didn't get an access to the trial environment, I have added a few of the screenshots. So here, this shows the project details, the actuals, and the estimated revenue. So similarly, like I have added a couple of screenshots, so which each and everything, which explains the things in detail. So once again, the first screenshot, it provides the description of the project and aggregates both the planned and the actual project performance. And the second one, the task, it provides the details regarding the work breakdown structure. So it is in a grid format, or you can change it to board view, or you can change it to Gantt view as well. And the next, so next we do have the complete details regarding the project participants, what all the resources are there. So all those things you would be able to see in this particular screenshot. And next one, it includes the time-based view of the effort for each the resources on a project. And next, this shows the time-based view of the differences between the assignments of the each named resources and also their bookings. So it differentiates in a different color. So you should be able to see it in a different color. And next, this shows the complete estimates. So you can see the estimations. Like it provides the time-based view of the cost and the sales estimates of the project. So you can see the complete, like for each and everything task, you can see what is the start date, end date, quantity, and what is the complete amount for this, the month wise. So you should be able to see this. And next, we do have the tracking. So tracking, it provides the view that shows the progress of the task in the work breakdown structure for effort, cost, and also the sales perspective as well. And the last but not least, we do have the expense estimates. So it provides a grid that defines the project expense. So based upon the organization expense categories, you can create a multiple categories. So based on the categories, so it will show all the project expenses. So this also, like, you should be able to configure it. And next, we do have some of the editable fields that displays on the derives the overall project status. And we do have like the project status color, like a green, yellow, and the red, that defines the overall the project status, like how the project is really looking. And also, like, we have field called comments field and the status updated on field and some of the system performance, the fields as well. And I have added like a couple of the screenshots to show the some of the limitations which is there in the projects and also there in the project task. So these are all the limitations. So which is there in the projects and a couple of things I have added from the project task as well. So now, so we have seen the complete, like how we will create the project and what all the features which is there in the project. Now, like once the project is created, now the next step for us is to define the work breakdown structure. This work breakdown structure is the hierarchical framework that helps break down the project into the smaller, the manageable components. instead of handling the entire project as a one large task, we always recommend to divide it to one phases, the task and the subtasks, so that it would make it easier to plan and also assign the resources and also to track the progress of the project. In Dynamics 365 CE project operation, the work breakdown structure provides the better control for over the project execution by structuring work logically, and also it gives you the clear visibility into dependencies and also the task relationships, so that we can execute the task in a sequential way so that the resources won't miss anything. And also we can see the improved resource allocation by defining who works on what and when they are going to work on those stuffs. So with the well-defined work breakdown structure in Dynamics 365 CE project operation, the project managers can ensure that all the project activities are aligned, reducing the risk and improving the overall efficiency of the project. So once now we have defined the work breakdown structure and the task, now the next crucial step for us is to do the project assignments. So this is where we allocate the right resources, whether the individual or a team, to a specific task to ensure the smooth execution. So in Dynamics 365 CE project operation, the resource assignments are optimized to match the right people with the right skill, availability, and also the project requirement. This assignment helps the project managers to ensure proper workload distribution by assigning the task based on the resource capacity, so which is already defined. And also it improves the efficiency by matching the skill to the task requirements. And also you can track accountability by defining who's responsible for each task in the project. Now the project managers can either manually assign the resources, or he can use AI-driven resource recommendation within the project operations. So these recommendations, it will help the manager to find the most suitable team member based on the skills, availability, and the past assignments which he has worked on. By effectively managing the project assignments, the organizations can boost their productivity, and also they can reduce the bottlenecks, and also they can ensure all their projects stay on track with respect to timelines, cost, all those stuffs. Now that we have discussed the project assignments, now let's move on to an equally an important aspect, the resource management fundamentals. So effective resource management ensures that right people are assigned to the right task at the right time, so that they can maximize the efficiency and they can contribute to the project success. In Dynamics 365 CE project operations, the resource management revolves around the resource allocation, assigning their resources based on the skills, availability, and their workload. And also it has the capability to do the capacity planning, ensuring the team members are not overutilized or underutilized. And role-based assignments, so matching the resources to project requirements based on their expertise. So how it will come is like based on the previous assignments, it will automatically match the resources to the project requirements based on their expertise. And next is the utilization tracking, monitoring how efficiently the resources are being used across the projects. By leveraging all these capabilities, the project managers can optimize the team's performance, and they can improve the project timelines, and also they can ensure the higher profitability for their organization. Additionally, the Dynamics 365 CE allows for real-time resource visibility, helping the managers proactively address the resources shortage, or the project manager can reassign the task as needed So now that we understand the fundamentals of resource management, now let's deep dive into resource scheduling. And now we will see like how it helped the organization to streamline the project execution part. For organization that centralize the resource allocation, the central mode in the Dynamics 365 CE project operation, it provides a structural approach to managing all the resources very efficiently. In this model, in this central model, the project managers first they define the resource requirements at a project level by specifying like what kind of role, skills, availability, or effort needed for each task. However, instead of directly assigning the resources, the resource manager is responsible for fulfilling all these requirements. The project management will raise a request, and the resource manager will work on the resource request. They review the resource availability, skill sets, and workload across the organization to find the best fit for this particular project. Once the resource manager find the resources, once he found the resource and if he proposed the resources to the project manager, then the project manager will have the flexibility either to accept or the reject the proposed resources based on the project needs. They will review their profile, and if their roles, skills, availability, and if all their efforts, if their matches with the project needs, then they will go ahead and approve it. If not, they will reject that particular proposed resource. So this ensures that the right people are assigned while maintaining the balance across the multiple projects. By using the central mode, organization can ensure optimal resource utilization across all the projects, and also they can improve the efficiency by standardizing the resource requirements, and also they can reduce the conflicts and the bottlenecks through this centralized decision-making approach. So this approach is particularly beneficial for the large enterprise or organization managing the multiple concurrent projects with the shared resources. Now, next, let's explore how the resource scheduling works in the Dynamics 365 CE project operations and how we can efficiently plan assignments to maximize the productivity. So before getting into how resource scheduling works, let's look at some of the core features which is there. This efficient resource management, it always starts with properly setting up the resource in the Dynamics 365 CE project operations. What does it mean is by defining the right people, the right skills, their roles, availability to ensure the seamless project execution. Now let's explore some of the key features that help the organization to manage their resources efficiently. First and foremost in the resource planning, they will go ahead and create the resources. So this is the first step to create the resource in the system. In Dynamics 365 CE project operations, the resource can be either an internal employee or contractor or even a business unit providing the services. Each resources would be linked to an organization, role, and also the cost center, ensuring the proper tracking of their utilization and their billing. By creating the resources in a structured manner, organization can maintain a clear view of their workforce and also their capacity. Once that is done, then they will start defining their skills and the proficiencies in the system. The reason is because not all the resources have the same expertise. So it is always important to define their skills and the proficiencies. For example, like the developer might be having a different the proficiencies and the skills, whereas the solution architects will be having the different skills and the proficiencies. So it's always crucial for the successful project. We need to go and define the skills and proficiencies in project operations. we can assign the skills to our resources. You can create the skills and you can assign the skills to the resources along with the proficiency level, which helps in matching the right people for the right task. For example, the project may require a senior developer with expertise in the Power Platform. The system can suggest the suitable candidates based on their skills and availability. If the skills are properly associated with the resource, then automatically the system can suggest the suitable candidates. So based on their skills and availability, ensuring the project success. Now the next thing is the roles. In addition to the skills, we also define the roles for each resources. The role represents the function a resource can perform in the particular project. There can be a multiple roles like a project manager, consultant, developer, tester, the solution architect. So multiple people can be there. Like the project manager who oversees the project execution and the timelines. The consultant who works on the project task and the deliverables. The solution architect who takes care of the solution designing. The developer and the consultants are nothing but the same. They handle the system configuration, the customizations. And the testers are available to ensure the complete project quality and the compliance. By clearly defining all these roles, so organization can standardize the responsibilities and also they can streamline the resource assignments. So if they go to the work breakdown structure, it would be really easy for them to the filter based on the roles, and they can see like what all the work breakdowns are available for each role. So those things are easily available with the help of defining the roles. And next, we do have the resource calendars. This is the final step to ensure the proper planning. We need to set up the resource calendars properly. So these calendars define each resource's working hours, so their availability, and also if they are going on any time off schedules. So this really helps the project managers to do the proper planning of the proper resource planning. And also this helps the project managers to avoid the scheduling conflicts and also ensures that the resource workloads are balanced efficiently across the multiple projects. For example, if the consultant is leave for a week, then the system will prevent the assignment for that particular consultant to a project during the particular period of time. So that it helps in accurate the planning and also the workload distribution in the project. Now that we have defined the resources, we have defined the skills, and also like we have defined the roles. Now the next crucial aspect of resource management is the resource utilization part. So utilization, it helps the organization to measure how effectively the resources are being used and whether they are contributing to revenue generating activities in organization. Now let's take some time to understand how this billable utilization is there. The most important metric in the resource management is the billable utilization, which helps the organization tracks the percentage of the resource available time spent on a chargeable work. There is a formula here for this billable utilization. The billable utilization formula is nothing but the chargeable actual hours divided by the resource capacity. This means if the consultant works 40 hours in a week, then 30 of these hours are chargeable to clients and their billable utilization is 75%. This metrics help the business to track the profitability and also it ensures that the resources are effectively contributing to the revenue. And now we have seen the billable utilization. Now let's understand what is the non-billable utilization. Not all the time spent by a resources are chargeable in the project. Some tasks such as internal meetings, or he can do some trainings, or he can do some research work. All this internal meetings, training, the researchers, all this falls under non-billable utilization. We calculated using the formula here like actual time with the billing type ID equals the non-chargeable or complementary or not available divided by the resource capacity. So this helps the organization understand how much time is spent on activities that do not generate the direct revenue for the project, allowing them to optimize the productivity. And there is an internal utilization as well. So there are also cases where the resource work on the internal projects that are not tied to a sales contract. This type of utilization is tracked separately using the actual time with the no sales contract divided by the resource capacity. For example, if a developer spends some time on working on internal product enhancement rather than the client project or some pre-sales activity, then that time falls under this internal utilization. So now let's see how the resource capacity is calculated. To calculate the utilization accurately, we first need to determine the resource total available work hours, that is nothing but the resource capacity. The formula for the resource capacity is equal to like the resource work hours minus out of office, and also we will subtract the non-working days for that particular resource. So by this way, we are ensuring that we only count only the available working hours when calculating the utilization, the project utilization. And some color-coded utilization indicators are there here in this to make it easy to access the utilization. What Microsoft has done is in the project operation, they have used the color-coded indicator to show whether the resource is meeting the target utilization or not. The green color, that is the billable utilization, meets or exceeds the resource target utilization. The resource is efficiently used. And the yellow color, the billable utilization is slightly below the target, between the target utilization minus 20% and the target utilization. And there is a room for improvement if it is a green yellow color. And next is the red color. This is the billable utilization is significantly lower than the target. It is like less than the target utilization 20%. So the action is needed by the project managers to increase the billable work for the particular resource. So with this color coding, so this insights help the organization proactively adjust the workload distribution, and they can reassign the resources, or they can take the corrective actions to improve the efficiency in the project. Now that we have covered the resource utilization, now let's talk about the other critical aspect of the project management. That is nothing but the project scheduling, the time tracking. So this ensures that the tasks are completed on time and the resources are effectively allocated and the project progress is accurately monitored by the manager. The task scheduling, that is the foundation of any project, because that is the schedule. In Dynamics 365 CE project operations, the project managers can set the start and the end date for the task, and they can define the dependencies for that particular task, and also they can create milestones to track the critical delivery points. And the resource assignment is also one of the key things here. Once the tasks are scheduled, the next step is assigning the resources. So in Dynamics 365 CE, we can allocate the resources using the hard bookings, and also they can do it with the soft bookings as well. What is hard booking is that is nothing but the confirmed resource assignments with the fixed schedule. That's the hard bookings. And if you ask me like what is soft bookings, the tentative assignments that can be adjusted based on the availability. And by balancing the workloads across the team, the project managers can prevent the over allocation, and also he can ensure the optimal resource utilization is also done. Now next is the crucial part, the time entry. To track the work effort accurately, the resources can log their hours. Either they can use the mobile phone, the time entry, the project operations one, they can submit the time entry, or they can use the desktop interface. These time entries help the project managers to compare the actual work against the planned estimates, and also it will enable the variance analysis, and it will help them to do the better forecasting. So this also ensures the organization can track the billable hours efficiently for invoicing and also do the profitability. And the approval workflows are there in the Dynamics 365 project operations. So once the time entries are submitted, the organization can use the approval workflows to review and validate them before they are recorded. In Dynamics 365 project operation, it allows the business to configure the multi-level approval chains, ensuring this time entries go through the right level of approval or a review before the final approval. It will goes for the multiple approvals before the final approval. So you can set up all those, you will get on flexibility to configure all those multi-level approval chains in that Dynamics 365 project operations. Now, the next is the managing the project finances effectively ensures the profitability and also the cost control. Now, let's look at the key financial management capabilities available in the Dynamics 365 project operations. One is the budgeting. It will help you to create the detailed budgets. You can track planned with actual cost, and also you can set financial control points in the project to prevent the overruns. And also it will help you to get the real-time alerts when these thresholds are approached. So all those things are configurable, so you should be able to easily configure it. And next, we do have the revenue management. And this will help you to configure the billing method for the project, whether it is a fixed term project, fixed price project, or it's a time and material project, or it is a hybrid mode. It will help you to recognize the revenue as per the accounting standards, and also it will help you to generate the accurate forecast in the project. Next, we do have the reporting capabilities. You can either use the inbuilt dashboards, which is available in the Dynamics 365 CE project operation, to analyze the profitability across the projects and clients. You can export this data either to an Excel, or either you can integrate this with an Power BI, and so that you will get the advanced financial insights. By leveraging all these financial tools, the organization can maintain better control over the project cost, revenue, and also they can ensure financially this project is getting succeeded. Now, the effective collaboration is also one of the key to the project success. In Dynamics 365 CE project operations, it ensures seamless the teamwork through various collaboration tools, which is ready-madely available inside. One is Microsoft Teams integration. So you can access the project data directly in the Teams, in the chat, in the call, and you can collaborate without switching to multiple apps. Next, we do have the document management. So it will help you to store and manage the project files with the version control, and you can link the documents directly to the project task for easy access. So that's also possible. And next, we do have the team communication. You can notify the team member of the assignments, and you can share the updates through the activity feeds. And next, we do have the status reporting. And using the status reporting, you can generate the automated reports, and you can customize the dashboards for the different stakeholders to track the project progress easily. With all these collaboration features, the team can stay aligned and informed, and they can be very productive throughout the project life cycle. So that's the reason So the effective collaboration is also one of the key things to the project success. In Dynamics 365 project operations, we have all those various collaboration tools that will help us to get the team to stay aligned, informed, and also they can be very productive throughout the project lifecycle. Beyond the core functionalities in the Dynamics 365 project operation, it also offers some of the advanced features and the best practices to enhance the project efficiency and also the business outcomes. So it has AI-driven insights. It leverages AI for, as I mentioned in the previous slides, it leverages AI for the resource recommendation and the risk prediction in the project and the financial forecasting to make the data-driven decisions. So these are all the advanced features which is available to enhance the project efficiency. And next, we do have the automated workflows, which will help you to streamline the approvals, the task management, and you can set the notification using the Power Automate to reduce the manual effort. So all those capabilities are available within this Dynamics 365 project operations. Next, you can integrate this with the Power Platform, like extended capabilities with the Power BI for analytics and the Power Apps for the custom solutions. In one of my previous engagement, where the customer was not happy with the time entry module, which is there in the Dynamics 365 project operations. What we have done is like we have built a Canvas app, we have built the Power Apps Canvas app, and we have embedded the complete the time entries Canvas app inside the Dynamics 365 project operations. So that's also possible. And you can use the Power Automate for all the automations. Like if you want to configure the multi-level of approvals for the time entries, or if you want to send the notification on certain event trigger, so all those things you can achieve it with the help of the Power Automate, which is there in the Dynamics 365 project operations. And there are a couple of best practices we need to follow if we need to get the success by leveraging the Dynamics 365 project operation. One is like we need to use the standardized project templates. So that will help us to improve the consistency. And you can regularly track the utilization, and you need to follow you need to regularly track the complete utilization and the financial performance in the project. And in order to get the success, it's always encourageable to do the real-time collaboration using the collaboration tools. We have seen in the previous slide, like various collaboration tools are there. So we can leverage all those collaboration tools so that we can get the success out of the project. And also we can use the predictive analysis to mitigate any risk that is going to come before they impact the project. By leveraging all these advanced features and the best practices, the organization can enhance the productivity, and they can also optimize the resources, and they can drive the successful project delivery. So the last but not the least slide. So to summarize this Dynamics 365 project operation, it provides a powerful solution to manage the projects very efficiently and optimize the resources, and also to ensure the financial success. So let's look at some of the strategic value. I have put up a diagram here. So it brings to the organization. One is like transforming the project delivery. So it enables the seamless project execution and visibility across your organization. Next is the operational excellence. So you can standardize the process, and which will help you to improve the efficiency, and also it help you to enhance the decision making with what all the data which is available real time, so that you can get the real time insights out of it. And next is the enhanced collaboration. So you can connect teams across the locations, departments with the Microsoft Teams, and lots of collaboration integrated tools which is readily available inside the Dynamics 365 project operations. And next is the solid foundation. You can leverage the Microsoft secure and scalable cloud platform to support your business growth. Yeah. So if you have any questions, then please feel free to put it in the chat window. Thank you for all your time today and attention today. I hope this session has given the valuable insights into how the Dynamics 365 project operations can drive success in the project management and also in the resource planning. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Please feel free to put your questions in the chat window.
Very much, Dharani. Thank you very much for your presentation, Dharani, joining us at 2 o'clock in the morning from New Zealand. Dharani, there are some questions in the chat, in the Q&A, sorry. The first question is actually from Neil, who's asking, in the event that there is a resource that has to be booked for every day in a week and is scheduled for a week, however, in the middle of the week, the resource is sick for one day, how would one handle that booking on the schedule board to ensure that a replacement resource fills in for the sick resource? How does the booking handle disruptions in the initial planning and align with actual participation?
Yeah. So for this question, like see, the project management plays a vital role here. Like if any resource is out of office in the Scrum meeting, obviously like the project manager will go through if that particular resource is not available, he will have the capability to go and mark that particular resource as a out of office for that particular day, and whatever the task assigned to him, he can sets the timeline, or he can reassign that particular task to the other resources. By that way, like they won't spill on the project timelines or the delivery part. I hope like this answer his question.
Thank you very much. The next question is by Barangere, who's asking, what are the major differences in scheduling management between Dynamics Field Service and project operations, specifically in terms of philosophy and the use of the schedule board?
Look, see, so both have the similar kind of schedule board. Over there also, like we'll go and configure the bookable resources, and like we'll go and add the characteristics, the proficiency level. So based on that, like how we are allocating the resources to the how we are allocating the work order to the field technicians. The similar way, like here also we have the capability to define the skills proficiency. So based on that, like AI will automatically recommend the correct resources for the particular task. So that is one of the out-of-box feature which is available. If you want to leverage that, you can go ahead and leverage that. If not, like you can manually go ahead and assign the resource to that particular task.
Okay, and finally, one question is for budgeting, revenue management and reporting. Please elaborate where it's done, CE or back office finance.
So the budgeting, the revenue management, reporting, see the revenue management, still you should be able to do it. The budgeting, all those things you would be doing it outside the Dynamics 365 CE, but still that particular project revenue management, still you would be able to keep all those things in the project area, like where you will be maintaining all your estimates, and based on the actuals you would be able to see. And the reporting part, like lots of out-of-box reports are there. Like you can leverage all those out-of-box reports, or if you have like any specific requirement, then you can leverage the Power BI and you can build your own reports, and you can embed those reports inside the Dynamics 365 CE project operations.
Okay. So Neil has another question. Neil, I'll follow up with you on your question regarding the differences between field services and project ops, if you like. So we can come back to that. Are there any other questions in the chat? Let's have a look if there's any other questions in the chat. I can't see any other questions. I think all the questions have now been answered. Neil does have a question regarding the differences between field services and project ops. So in short, Neil, field service still uses the Dynamics 365 model-driven app for scheduling, and you can, for example, schedule bookable. There's a concept of bookable resource bookings in field services, whereas in project ops, you are scheduling the resources. via the work breakdown structure. So it is a slightly different concept, although they're both using the unified resource scheduling as the mechanisms, but they do work slightly differently when it comes to that. But both provide the option to be able to submit a day off or emergency holiday, which you can schedule in addition to the calendar, the native calendar availability in Outlook, right? So you've got that native capability, but you can override it in emergency cases when it comes to sickness. The admins have certain powers to do that, or that can be submitted via an app, for example. So that's how it's done. Okay. Any final questions before we let you go, Dharani? Because it is very late for you. It's 3 o'clock in the morning for Dharani in New Zealand. So, Dharani, I want to thank you very much for taking your time out to present on such an important aspect of project operations, right? So, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and your insights and your knowledge today. Please don't forget, Dharani, to share your contact details in the chat, so that the community can keep in touch with you as well, okay?
Yep. Thanks, Raz, once again for providing this wonderful opportunity. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks to all the sponsors for making this event happen today.
Thank you so much, Dharani. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from New Zealand. Excellent. Okay, so we're almost on to the highlight of the event. So we are coming up to our keynote, our Microsoft keynote. So we're all getting excited, and so let's get started. Okay. So we've still got a couple of minutes before the keynote begins. Again, please use the Q&A section for your questions to ensure that they do get answered. If you're posting questions in the chat, as you know, there are other people messaging in the chat, so it might get missed. So please post your questions in the Q&A to ensure that they do get answered. Neil, I hope I did answer your question, by the way. If I haven't, please just post any elaborations in the Q&A. I'm more than happy to follow up on that shortly. Okay, well, we are on the hour. It is the time. And without further ado, it's time for our keynote with Microsoft's very own Rupa. Hello there, Rupa.
Hi, team.
Hello, fantastic, Rupa. Yes, we can hear you. Excellent.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm in a noisy location. I hope you're not catching any background.
We catched a little bit of it at the beginning, but not anymore. So hopefully it's been faded out.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
We should be. Yeah, hopefully should be good. Rupa, so I know you've got a very busy schedule, Rupa, so we don't want to delay you any further, but just for everyone's awareness, everyone on the call today, Rupa is the program manager for Dynamics 365 project operations, and many of them are here to listen to you today, Rupa. So we are all excited. We know there's lots of great things coming up in Project Ops, and we're excited to hear that from you today. Without further ado, Rupa, because I know you're a very busy person, so we would like to hand the stage over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Russ, and really eager to meet the community. And it's unfortunate I have some contracting work going on in my home, so I had to come over to a different location to present this keynote. But super excited to be here. Super excited to show you what's going on with Project Ops. I'll just start, just to level set. What is the purpose, why we built Project Ops, so that you can see a coherence between the original purpose of origin purpose of this product and to where we are going. So basically, we set out to remove data silos when managing projects, right? Different people interact with projects and they work in their different silos. So we set out to remove those data silos while still providing a seamless experience and making every user feel empowered and productive in the application. That's what we set out to do. So in project operations, the core value remains the same. AI or no AI, the core value is to support everything around the business process of projects and empower every persona to get what they need from that work initiative. So that hasn't changed. And our product is built on top of a very strong platform, both Dataverse and finance and operations. And we have an orchestrated business process flow with these key modules: sales, work planning, resource management, time and expenses, procurement, billing, and finance. And we stand tall on top of the strength of, D365 sales, financials, operational HR, globalization studio as app modules on top of which project operations is built. And we also stand tall on top of the Dataverse platform and facets of the F&O platform and the larger Microsoft ecosystem around productivity apps and Teams collaboration, right? So we're built within the Microsoft ecosystem, leveraging Microsoft platforms, business applications platforms in Dataverse and F&O, and also built on top of base functionality in D365 sales and D365 finance and supply chain and HR, right? So that's the overall ecosystem. We set out to, like I said, remove data silos, so that seamless handoff between sales and delivery teams, one source of truth for estimation pricing. And we pride in ourselves being not look like a bolt on top of an SCM application when you sell projects, not look like a bolt on top of finance when you do financial functions around revenue recognition. We are purpose built for projects, and we try to bring that value proposition in how our UI is structured. So here's a few customers who use us. And analyst recognition, we lead with project operations in Gartner's Magic Quadrant for service-centric enterprises. We lead with project operations in Forrester Wave around service-centric enterprises. So we are recognized as a leader in by both analysts. So coming to the meat of this presentation, right? So where we see project ops, so if you think of work management as a larger functionality, you can see different flavors, right? Whether it is collaborative work management or whether it is PPM tools, PSA products, service-centric ERP, and you can see the gradation in market size increasing. We have functionality across all of these 4 segments in project ops. With task planning, WBS, and task scheduling, we cater to the collaborative work management. With our resource planning, scheduling, and subcontracting experiences, we cater to PPM tools and the PSA functionality and service-centric enterprises, right? So we don't have any portfolio planning or prioritization. We definitely want to eventually have that functionality, but that's something we don't have right now. But we do extensive cost tracking, budgeting, and earned value analysis around projects, which is again relevant to the PPM space, professional service automation space, and service-centric ERP. We have extensive time, expense, procurement, and subcontracting experiences that also, help in the work execution that happens in projects. And, specifically for professional services automation and service-centric ERP, that is any customer that delivers services as a project, right? Billing, pricing, and the sales processes are important. And we have that functionality. We also have very deep accounting and revenue recognition coming from the project accounting module in F&O. So we cater to every aspect of how people understand work management and project management. There are some areas where we don't have a whole lot of functionality, and that's in the portfolio planning and prioritization. There is functionality that we have that we can definitely build more depth in functionality, and so that's where you see whether we do build up the core functionality or whether we build up AI, it'll be towards, with these core processes of projects. So with that, I'll take a brief pause. I'm not really looking at Q&A, but Raz, if you are looking at it, are there any questions for me at this time that I could address before we move on?
No questions yet, Rupa?
So cool. Where's the world headed? Right. This is an interesting question. So when it comes to project management, we observe, and this is not just our experience with our customers, we also see this corroborated by think tanks at Gartner, Project Management Institute, or PMI. We see a lot of these trends going on. And I'm highlighting some of the key trends that we see, and these trends are shaping how we build up project management, right, within project ops. So one thing is, there used to be a time when there were diehard fans of agile way of project management. There were diehard fans of waterfall, and the two couldn't see eye to eye. That is a thing of the past now. Now it's more flexibility in what type of methodology you adopt. And there is also increasing use of hybrid. Earlier in the stage, I would probably do a waterfall so that I have the full vision. And then as I go into execution, I might take the agile way because that keeps me productive. Um, out are these silos of project management methodologies. More now it's all about hybrid way of, and that you see in the way we have evolved our task planning capabilities in project operations too. We have a lightweight agile and waterfall running together in the product. And then remote work is here to stay. Pandemic or otherwise, professional services was always, dealing with distributed teams, distributed work execution. So that's not a trend that's going away. In fact, it's cemented further. So you will see us investing more in how we bring teams front and center into project operations, and how we allow for structured and unstructured collaboration when teams are coming together to work on a project. And, of course, AI, if I wouldn't be a Microsoft employee if I didn't give AI its due importance, and the way it has completely changed the way humans interact with software, specifically generative AI, traditional AI, generative AI, any AI is really the future. And what we are seeing is project management as a discipline is going to change completely with with the advances that AI can bring. And when you take the mundane and automate the mundane, project managers can now start, contributing to projects using different kinds of skill sets, right? That we humans are more naturally fit. Not pushing buttons, not filling out fields on a form, but rather, use our native human skills to manage projects. So some of those are the trends that we see, and we are using that framework as we set out to, reduce the cognitive overload and automate and augment a project manager's interaction with project ops. And of course, billable workforce utilization and retention. This has always been, this is never gets old. You want to retain your talent on that's working on projects. And this is as true it is today in the world of AI as it was 10 or 15 years ago. So that is something that you will see us bring to the forefront in project ops going forward, where we empower the team member to take their career, to help them be more productive on their project tasks, and advance their skills and increase their experience profile in a way that helps them grow in the career that they want to. So those are the trends we see, and you'll see us investing in those specific areas within project ops. And of course, there is a ton of other areas we invest in. Every release wave, you will see us investing in fundamentals, the completeness of vision, that is the core functionality, removing barriers for adoption. This call is a good testament to that, where we sit down and work with our community members, partners, in bringing the product features to your attention and knowledge, and remove barriers of adoption within the product, where UI is too old or too clicky or cumbersome to use, remove barriers of adoption within the product and in the community around project operations, right? So we stand, like I said, we stand tall on our platforms, but we stand with all of your support as well. So it's important that we, bring our product to your knowledge and our advancements and investments into the product to your knowledge as soon as we have, all the way from ideation to actually implementing in the product. We would love to take you on the journey with us. And of course, innovation in AI, right? I mean, if we did not do AI, if we did not bring AI into project operations, we will be left behind because the world of project managers is changing and the job profile of a project manager is changing. So we absolutely have to empower our project managers with the best possible AI tools and insights so that they are able to be more productive in their jobs as project managers. So if you look at our product investments, in the past 12 to 18 months, I will highlight a few things that are more important among our investments, but you can see our release plans are published, our release notes are published. We have done a lot to improve our maturity as a product team when it comes to delivering on our commitments in our release plans. But a few things to highlight in the last 12 to 18 months. We now have support for larger projects. So our task limits is sort of the general term, but it is the limits that are there in project operations in terms of the size of projects that we are able to support. We used to be able to support 1,500 tasks. Now we can support 3,000 tasks. That limit increase is in private preview. I will encourage you to sign up. We have updated our doc site with instructions on how to sign up. So we now support 3,000 tasks per project. There was another limit that you can only have 20 resources working on a task at any given time. That has been updated to 50 with an overall limit of 20,000 people, 20,000 assignments on a project. We used to be supporting 300 team members on a project. Now we support 1,000 team members on a project. We used to support 10-year projects. Now we support 15-year projects. All of these limits, expanded limits, are in private preview. We have updated our doc site. Please sign up. They will be GA at the end of April. So it's very close. The GA as well is very close on these limits. And then we have invested in AI-powered resource suggestions to project managers. Performance is a huge area of investment, and this is an ongoing area of investment. We are also investing in, you would have seen our push to budgeting, time-based forecasting, and earned value management in project ops. We are coming out with a power app for mobile time entry. We have deepened our subcontracting and procurement experiences. We have released a time, expense, and approvals agent, which is what we call as an agent that can help business process around service-centric enterprises. With this time and expense approvals agent, we hope to minimize timesheet errors. We hope to minimize the duration it takes for somebody to log their expenses after travel. We have infused a ton of AI into project execution with this agent. We review approvals using AI and natural language understanding of LLMs. All of this with the intent that as a service-centric enterprise, you are able to send out an invoice that's more accurate and that is faster. And those days of hounding with missed time report reminders, or hounding off consultants saying you didn't record your time, or consultants forgetting to record time, which causes big grief for any service-centric enterprise, because missed time is leaked revenue, right? So all of those inefficiencies in the typical invoice process for a service-centric enterprise are addressed by the time expense approvals agent. We have done a ton of, maturity in our financial dimension defaulting, phasing of earned value, billing backlog tracking, approvals. Of course, I already talked about approvals in the execution and statusing of projects. So these are some of the highlights over the last 12 to 18 months. And then in the next 6 to 8 months, we look at investments. If you know, Dynamics is on a 6-month planning cycle. So in the next 6 to 8 months, I would like to highlight a few things in the core that we are doing. We are lighting up the support for stocked or inventoried items on projects by bringing, inventory visibility and pricing service into the Dataverse side of project operations from the SCM module. We are designing change order support. We are deepening our HR integration. We are adding support for investment or fixed asset capitalization projects in the modern architecture of project ops. A few things we are doing by way of innovation in AI, what if analysis, proposal generation, improvements to our agentic automation of time expense approvals, which we released last wave. We are planning to improve the status reports and resource recommendation features that we have released. So these are a few of the highlights over the next 6 to 8 months. But longer term, longer term, what are we looking at, right? A few highlights again. We will continue our support and increase support for larger projects for sure. And then larger invoices using asynchronous dual write, change order management, what if analysis, we already spoke about this. Empowering the team member is going to be a huge theme for us. Our team members today can record time and expense. We want to enable a ton of team member related features within the product, powered by AI or otherwise. And then, deepening in terms of our integration with finance and HR is going to be a huge theme. Finance, HR, and SCM is going to be a huge theme. With inventory integration, enabling general ledger journals for projects in the modern architecture, support for financial tags, project operations data model, BPA, investment projects. So these are going to be some of the highlights of the next 18 months. So with that, again, I'll take a brief logical pause here and see if anyone has any questions that I should be addressing before I move forward.
Hi, Rupa. There is a question. It's in relation to Neil is asking, is the product team working on Copilot for project operations? And I think there's just another question that's just come through now in relation to. I think that's the first question that's come through in relation to Copilot. Yeah.
Yeah. So Copilot and AI is embedded in project operations. We have released quite a few Copilot features within project operations, but they are available as part of the product right now. There is not going to be a separate SKU or an app that is called Copilot for project operations, right? That's not going to be there. Whatever AI we put, it will be within the product. And of course, AI monetization is a different subject altogether. But right now, our approach is that whatever AI we are building, we are baking it directly into the product. So some of the AI features that we have released, I did call them out a little bit earlier, but some of the AI that is already baked into the product is a status report, project status report Copilot, which we are going to enhance with, format templates, project proposal generation that is going to come out next month, time, expense, and approvals, agentic automation, AI and agentic automation and time entry creation, expense entry creation, and approvals in Project Ops. That's in private preview right now and will be going into public preview at the end of April. Task generation using AI. There's going to be a ton of investment in AI in the upcoming 6 to 12 months with respect to empowering the team member and in the general resource management, resource selection processes. That's as far as I can reveal, but yeah, all of these functionality that's powered by Copilot and AI is currently already baked into the experiences within project operations. If the question is more about a separate SKU that's called Copilot for project operations, that's not on the cards.
Thank
Does
you,
that
Rupa.
answer the question?
It does. There is one more question in relation to AI. Frederick is asking the question, is the AI-based resources suggestions as part of projects for the web task component or a part of the URS experience for project operations? If it is a yes to the first part, will there be a license constraint for project operations?
It's not a yes to the first part. It's a yes to the second part. So it is part, our resource recommendations is leveraging URS availability constraints. So basically our resource recommendation takes 5 factors into consideration before it's recommending a resource. One is the cost of the resource compared to what you have budgeted. The second is the availability of the resource. Third is utilization of the resource and skills and competencies. And the fifth one is pure AI, which is basically the experience level of a resource. What other projects and tasks this resource has put time on, and then make a correlation between those projects and tasks with the current project and task and give an a weighted experience score for the resource for this particular task. So relevance of experience, right? So that is basically leveraging core project operations logic for experience scores, and it's leveraging URS logic for availability and skill match. So that's how it is shaped. There is no, it does not work in project for web because project for web is more about task scheduling. Project operations brings in the whole resource management and enterprise resource planning concepts. And those are the concepts that powers the resource recommendations feature that we have in Project Ops.
Thank you, Rupa.
Is that any other questions before I move on?
We're good for now, Rupa. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So coming to the spotlight on AI, and I've already clarified everything I talk about now is in the core product. There is not going to be a separate SKU called Copilot for project operations or anything like that. This is all AI that we will be infusing in the core product, right? So a few trends to call out why we are so pumped about AI in project operations. Gartner's prediction, by 2030, 80% of the work of today's project management will be done by AI. And project managers will contribute more strategically to their projects. And then global AI project management market is, growing at a CAGR of 17.3%. Huge opportunity there for project operations. And 93% of companies have already made some kind of an investment in AI and are also seeing a positive ROI. So we see these trends and we see the potential for AI, both in terms of changing the paradigm of how project management is done today, and also from a revenue and financial upside. But to give you some level of framework on how we pick scenarios, right? We use the PMI methodology where depending on how complex the task is and how much human intervention is needed in the task, like is the human able to get the best out of it, or is AI able to augment the human in completing this task, or is AI able to completely take over and execute on the task? So that is the vectors that we use. And based on that, we figure out, okay, what are the scenarios we can, and as the complexity increases, and the intervention of human increases, that's where we augment. But where the complexity is low and the human intervention can be automated, that's where we use the automation. So we go based off automation, and then as the complexity increases, it becomes in the assist mode. And as it moves more further to the right, that will be in the augmentation, where human calls upon AI for specific portions of that particular task, not the entire task. Whereas automation is where the task is very mundane and can be done by synthesizing a few variables and taking the next best action. Right? Those are the things that we try and automate. Right now, we are taking the approach of keeping the human in the loop always. But as the confidence and maturity of the technology and the confidence of the human in the technology increases, we hope to go 100% automation. So with that, this is kind of what AI we already have in the product, right? That this kind of represents at each stage in the project management lifecycle what scenarios have already been powered by AI, which ones are under consideration in the short term and in the long term. So whatever you see here in blue, these are things that the team is working on to infuse AI into these in either a full automation model or an assistance model or in an augmentation model. Whatever you see here in green is something that we have already released. Capabilities that are powered by AI that are already released in Project Ops. So a few highlights, suggest a resource to a project manager, status reports, approval actions, time and expense generation. All of these have been released, but there is a significant amount of investment being put in to improve the maturity of these capabilities, take the user experience to the next level. And in parallel, we are also working on proposal generation, what-if analysis to suggest an estimate or a budget, and optimizing for different factors like profitability or revenue or cost or utilization of resources, and then empowering the team member in terms of taking their career into their hands and building out an experience profile that is aligned with their career goals. So those are the things that we are focused on right now. And you'll see us investing a whole lot of improvements in what we have released, and a good chunk of new scenarios powered by AI in those blue areas. We also plan to change the way revenue tracking is done, but that will come as the next set of features that we consider as we mature in what we have already released. Any other questions?
Hello there, Rupa. There are a couple of questions. One is related to any expected changes we can expect to the scheduling board. The question is, so Giovanna is asking, do we have any update regarding the flexibility to update the task grid? So update percentage complete, security baseline, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. If you look at our release plans, we will see both of those in our committed plans for the April wave, Giovanni. So you will be able to update the progress of tasks right from the task board. You will be able to complete tasks or move progress tasks right from the task board. That is something we are committed for the April wave. One other highlight in the April wave is the support for templates, WBS templates, small chunks of a project, work breakdown structure to import into a target project, not just the whole WBS. So that's another well-asked feature that we are bringing into the April wave. In terms of the customizability of the task board, today you can see a few columns there. We are adding support for, we have already released support for custom columns. So you can now have custom columns that you add to the task table, and you can show those custom columns, but it's right now restricted to certain data types. Reference columns or lookup columns are not part of the list of supported custom columns. That is something that we are investing in again, to improve the support for custom columns on the task grid. And then also another well asked for investment that we are bringing in is on the task board, you have a little eye icon that brings up a details pane. We are making that extensible so that you can add your columns to the details pane and update those columns, even if those are columns that you don't see in the grid because they are probably not updated often. But if you are bringing the details pane to update some of those column values, you can add your custom columns to the details pane. So these are some of the highlights to advance the extensibility and customizability of the task board that we have invested in, and we are continuing that investment in the April wave. So you should see all of these capabilities land.
Thank you so much, Rupa. There is one final question from Neil, who's asking, could we see an integration of project ops and DevOps? Because they get a lot of requirements where their development team is using DevOps and they have tasks assigned in DevOps, and they would like to see some kind of integration where that can also be integrated within project operations, perhaps?
Yeah, definitely looking at that for the future. We are also seeing a few asks trickle down to us about integration between Azure DevOps and Project Ops task board. Nothing on the concrete committed plans right now, but definitely we are looking at the ask and sort of sizing the ask and understanding how much of broad applicability is there for that ask. It's definitely not something that we can bring in the next 6 to 8 months, Neil, but beyond the April wave, and perhaps in the fag ends of the October wave release timeline, we could spin up an initiative around that. Although don't quote me on this, but we definitely are hearing. This is something that we are hearing more often these days.
Thank you so much, Rupa. You've answered all the questions. Over to you. Thank you.
Awesome. So I have a couple of videos that I would like to share with the community. One is on the time and expense approvals agent. One is on our investments for the April release wave. That April release wave is the period between April 1st and September 31st, September 30th. So anything that we are releasing in that period, we have a video to show you our commitments there. So let me stop sharing now and then share again with audio.